Darlington has meant tradition. Festivities, ceremonies, and racing have changed little since 1950. You can still go downtown to see the annual parade and pageantry that bring thousands of race fans here every year. It's these traditions that have made a legend out of drivers. And these accidents that have made a legend out of this racetrack. Next, the tradition continues at stock car racing's oldest event, the granddaddy of them all, the Southern 500. ESPN, the world's leader in motorsports coverage, presents Speed World. Today, live from Darlington, South Carolina, the Southern 500, brought to you by Bob Jenkins, and welcome to the Southern 500, the 39th annual renewal of this race. They first started this event in 1950, and Johnny May, however, and that is weather. It is a very hot and humid day here. It is cloudy. There are showers in the area. It rained here earlier today, but we hope we can get at least half this event in. When you talk of tradition here at Darlington, you think of Bill Elliott because he has traditionally done well here, and he starts today's race from the pole position. Let's go to the pit area for that story and the editor of Stock Car Racing magazine, Dick Berggren.
Bob, I like Elliott's chances to win. He proved he can go back and forth between tire brands when this spring he started Dover on Goodyear's, one on Hoosier. He's geared for either tire here. The Southern 500 favors smooth, error-free, stay-out-of-trouble driving. That's Elliott. He's on a roll. He's finished third or better in 6 of his last 8 races. He's won more poles and more races than anyone this year. He says his race strategy will develop based on weather and tires. He also says he plans to win. Bob?
Thank you very much, Dick. As far as weather is concerned, traditionally, this race has only been shortened twice by rain in 1969 and last year in '87. Let's go to the starting line. The Grand Marshal, Tom Smith.
Ladies and gentlemen, for the most famous words in motorsports, here's our Grand Marshal for the day's 39th running of the Southern 500, Mr. Tom Smith, President of Food Line.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor and a privilege to be the Grand Marshal of the Southern 500 here in Darlington, South Carolina. And it's a special honor to defer the starting of the engine to the Honorary Race Director, Senator Dan Quayle. Gentlemen, start your engine.
367 laps to go. 500 miles of competition in the Southern 500. The balloons have been released. We are set to go. As Dick mentioned, the tire situation this afternoon will be a very important one. Goodyear has virtually run out of tires. And for more on that, here is Dr. Jerry Punch in the pit area.
Well, Goodyear's motto, that's fly with the Eagles. And the Eagles have flown. The cupboard is bare. Not a single Goodyear tire to be had here at Darlington. Over 1,000 brand new tires here early in the week. They're all gone. No more available. The crews were supposed to get 6 sets of tires. Now, some of the independents have already sold their tires to the heavier finance teams, and they only have a couple of sets. The heavier finance teams say 6 sets won't get them to halfway. They have gone to mount the Hoosier tires. Every car in the starting field is starting on the new Goodyear, but most cars have Hoosiers available. Now, it's going to be a who can get the most tires deal as to who wins here today. But with a threat of rain, this may all be a moot point.
Jerry, I remember some races that have been won here on one set of tires just from start to finish, but that won't happen today. Tire wear is a concern. They're concerned that they might not even be able to go a full fuel stop, and that's 100 miles. survival is always the key here at Darlington. You got to keep yourself out of trouble. This is one of the toughest tracks on the circuit. Gary Nelson, with all of that in mind, how does a crew chief set up his strategy for this race?
Well, you're right, Ned. This has become a very tough track on tires. You know, probably the crew chief that comes up with the best chassis setup will have the best luck with his tires. But then, of course, Darlington is always high with attrition. So that's another factor we all have to think about.
Well, Bob, it's going to be an interesting race for sure.
All right, thank you, Ned. As you can see on the pit road, the cars have lined up and now begin to pull away for a couple of warm-up laps. There are 40 starters that will begin this Southern 500 this afternoon. And let's now check the starting lineup for the Southern 500. On the pole will be Bill Elliott from Dawsonville, Georgia, the Coors Motorcraft Ford, car number 9, qualifying at 160.827, a new track record for this race. Dale Earnhardt begins outside of row number 1 in car number 3, the GM Goodwrench Chevrolet. In row number 2, it is Alan Kowicki in the number 7 Xerox Ford. Alongside will be the Levi Garrett Chevrolet, car number 5, driven by Jeff Bodine. Then in row number 3, it's Rusty Wallace in the Kodiak Pontiac, car number 27, and the Tide Chevrolet, car number 17, driven by Darrell Waltrip. Mark Martin will begin in position number 7 in the Strollite Ford, car number 6, and then Brett Bodine in the Crisco Motorcraft Ford, car number 15. Harry Gant begins from 9th position in the Skoll Bandit Food Lion Chevrolet, car number 33, and then the Heinz Ketchup Buick, driven by Morgan Shepherd, car number 57. New father Lake Speed drives the Wynn Kmart Oldsmobile, car number 83, starting in 11th spot. And alongside will be Sterling Marlin in the number 44 Piedmont Underalls Oldsmobile. In row number 7, it's Rodney Combs and Michael Waltrip. The 8th row has Davey Allison and Bobby Gillen Jr. Beginning in row number 9 will be Ernie Irvin and Dale Jarrett. In the 10th row, it's Rick Wilson and Ken Reagan. Row number 11, Phil Parsons in 55 and Rick Mast in 88. The 12th row, Terry Labonte in the Junior Johnson number 11 and Neil Bonnet in car 75. The 13th row is Ken Schrader and Richard Petty. Row 14, number 90, Benny Parsons, and 52, Jimmy Means. The 15th row has Ricky Rudd starting in car number 26 and Mike Alexander in number 12. The 16th row, it's Derry Cope in 68 and Jim Sauter in the Slender U car number 31. Eddie Bierschwil begins in row number 17 along with H.B. Bailey. In the 18th row, it'll be Kyle Petty and Ken Bouchard, the only rookie in the race. The 19th row, Randy Baker in 87 and Dave Marcus in 71. The 20th row has Philip Duffy in 32 and Jimmy Horton in number 80. The field is on the backstretch now for first of a couple of warm-up laps. Now, Ken Bouchard is the only rookie going for Rookie of the Year honors. There are other rookies in this race. Our in-car cameras this afternoon, there are 2 of them. First of all, we're in the Rick Wilson Kodak car as he warms up. And there is the Hardee's in-car race cam. And, of course, that car will be driven by Dale Jarrett. We have some drivers that are missing this race for the first time in a long time, as a matter of fact. Buddy Baker is missing his first Southern 500 in 29 races. He was the winner here in 1970. Cale Yarborough, a 5-time winner of this event, will miss his first race in 27. And, of course, Bobby Allison is still recuperating from his injury suffered at Pocono. He's a 4-time winner of this event, and he's missing his first Southern 500 in 22 races.
Well, certainly those drivers will be missed, but there's plenty out here who are hungry and are going to give it everything they have. This is an important race, Bob, for a lot of race drivers because it's the time of the year when they're looking to make their deals for 1989, and this could be a pivotal race for them.
Boy, it looks like they're all coming up to speed kind of gingerly. You know, it rained overnight, and the track is kind of green, let's say, and the drivers are looking for any groove that might still be there, any rubber that may be left from yesterday.
Well, up front, on the front row, we have Bill Elliott on pole and Dale Earnhardt on the outside, and those 2 guys are right in the thick of the Winston Cup points battle. Of course, in second position in points is Rusty Wallace, who begins this race from 5th position. But the Winston Cup points battle remains the closest in NASCAR history. The number 28 car will be driven this afternoon by Davey Allison.
And they had to change the engine in that car this morning, Bob. They were concerned about something in the valve train. They decided that they would go ahead and change it rather than take any kind of chances. So there'll be a little apprehension there at the beginning. However, the engine has been run on a dynamometer before they brought it here, but they want to be sure that all of the lines are hooked up and everything like that. We're about ready to go, I believe.
Indeed we are. The pace car is already off of the racetrack. Here comes the field out of corner number 4, looking for the green flag that will start the 39th annual Southern 500. There's the green, and here we go. It's Bill Elliott who has grabbed the lead from Dale Earnhardt as the cars move through the second corner and down the backstretch for the first time. The battle for third position involves the number 7 of Alan Kulwicki and the number 5 car of Jeff Bodine. Single file formation into turn number 3, and here comes Bill Elliott, who will lead lap number 1 of 367 in the Southern 500. Is right on Bill Elliott's back bumper, and Jeff Bodine is knocking on Dale Earnhardt's door as they streak down the backstretch once again. Elliott has about a 2-car length advantage. That's Alan Kulwicki in the number 7 car running in 4th spot.
Well, Earnhardt would certainly like to get out front early, Bob, and lead at least 1 lap so he can get a 5-point bonus that Bill Elliott already has when he led the first lap.
Every Winston Cup point that you can get at this point in the season is very, very valuable. There are the first 3. Bill Elliott in the number 9 Ford. Dale Earnhardt in the number 3 Chevrolet, and Jeff Bodine in the number 5 Chevrolet. Then we have Alan Kulwicki running in 4th position. Darrell Waltrip is in 5th. Rusty Wallace is in 6th position, and 7th is Brett Bodine as they come off corner number 4 and complete lap number 4.
You can watch them as they come into the turns. The drivers that are really trying hard are getting already right up against the wall, especially in the 3rd turn. A little bit here. There's Jeff Bodine way up high in 1 and 2. He's really trying to take that position from Dale Earnhardt.
Earnhardt was to the inside of Bill Elliott there in the 2nd corner, but now drops back into 2nd position as once again it's single file. The battle is for 5th position. That is Darrell Waltrip.
He's driving pretty aggressively here. Normally you don't see him run that aggressive this early in a race, especially at a track like Darlington.
And Rusty Wallace is right behind Darrell Waltrip, running in 6th spot, and here comes Waltrip to the inside at the end of the front stretch. He takes over 4th position from Alan Kulwicki, and now Rusty Wallace makes a bid for 5th spot as Alan Kulwicki is about to be passed down the backstretch. Let's see how things shake out going into turn number 3. Yes, Rusty has that position from Kulwicki.
Usually the driver who has the inside groove going into that turn has the position, and it's better for the driver on the outside to back off and let him go.
That point right there is where Alan Kulwicki and Ken Schrader got in trouble in the early laps of the race here in the spring. So Alan Kulwicki, I think, just gave the spot to Rusty Wallace rather than to risk any problems this early.
Bill Elliott's very first start here at Darlington in 1977. He started 16th and finished 10th in 21 starts at Darlington. Elliott has finished only outside the top 10 twice. Dale Earnhardt, Jeff Bodine, Darrell Waltrip, and Rusty Wallace continue to follow our leader Bill Elliott as we have completed 6 laps. Not a whole lot of passing so far.
This is pretty much a one-groove racetrack, and you do have to set a person up to pass him here. As we saw there earlier, it took Walter quite a while to move around Alan Kulwicki, so you have to work on the driver for a while before you can get around him, because it is a one-groove racetrack.
Especially going into turn 3, Ned, where if you try to go in there side by side, both of you are going to lose so much time that it's better off to let the guy go in front of you or give the guy a break rather than both of you lose so much lap time.
Now a little bit of tire smoke we see from the Dale Earnhardt car. We assume it's tire smoke. What do you think?
It looked like it. He held it low that time through turns 1 and 2. He had been letting it drift up, and when he turned that little bit extra on the steering wheel and hit the gas, it looked like the rear tire smoked a little bit.
So Bill Elliott leads the Southern 500 with 7 laps completed. Dale Earnhardt is in 2nd and Jeff Bodine 3rd. We'll be back with more after South Carolina for the 39th annual Southern 500. And the leader is the number 9 car driven by Bill Elliott. Number 3, Dale Earnhardt 2nd. The number 5 car of Jeff Bodine is 3rd. Running in that 4th position is Darrell Waltrip in car number 17, and then the number 27 car driven by Rusty Wallace.
And those 5 cars have been able to open up about a 1.5 margin over Alan Kowicki, who has dropped back to 6th.
I'm surprised at how many cars have run up high so far already. And you can see on the wall right there where it says Darlington, right under the scoreboard, it's all clear white and red paint. Let's watch later in the race and see if it changes to black.
Well, this is a very safe and clean race yesterday. The Busch Grand National event that we televised for you live here on ESPN, as Harry Gant won that race. But there wasn't a single accident to, well, except for Patty Moise's right at the end of the race that forced the race to be finished under caution. And I think the drivers are hoping that we can run a very quick half of the race and then assess the weather situation at that time. Looks like the Darrell Waltrip is trying to find a spot, and now here comes Rusty Wallace to challenge Darrell Waltrip down the backstretch. Remember, going into 3, it's pretty much a one-groove racetrack, and the faster line usually has it, the inside line, and that is indeed the situation. Rusty Wallace moves to 4th.
Well, that trio right there, Jeff Bodine, and then there's a little gap now to Rusty Wallace and Darrell Waltrip. They can see that smoke coming from Dale Earnhardt's right rear tire. They know he's a little bit loose right now. They'd like to take this opportunity to put some pressure on him and get around him.
We're looking out the back blast coming up here of the Hardee's in-car cam, the Oldsmobile driven by Dale Jarrett, and that, of course, is Terry Labonte in the Budweiser car right behind Dale.
Labonte has perhaps been doing more passing in the Junior Johnson Budweiser Chevrolet than any other driver. He has moved from his 23rd starting position right up behind Dale Jarrett, who's running in 18th. That's where Dale started. So Labonte is on the move. His car seems to be working well. We didn't have a very good qualifying run here, but Terry Labonte really likes this racetrack, drives it well. Of course, he's a former winner of the Southern 500.
About 3.5 miles an hour off of the pole speed. That's how Terry Labonte qualified. There's the Kodak in-car camera looking back at Terry Labonte. Looking back now at Dale Jarrett from the Kodak car.
So the 2 camera cars running right together. Rick Wilson moved around Jarrett about 4 or 5 laps ago. And Terry Labonte moved up there pretty quickly, but he's having a little more trouble passing some of these cars than you have passing some of those back behind him.
And now out front of the Hardee's Oldsmobile.
Rick Wilson made a pass on the car number 8 of Bobby Hiller. So Rick Wilson, who just signed a contract yesterday to remain with the Morgan McClure team, Kodak will remain their sponsor in 1989. So he's driving this race with a lot of confidence. He knows he doesn't have to worry about his ride.
You can hear him work the throttle in the turns.
He's coming up now on the car number 97, which is being driven by Rodney Combs, the GM Tech car.
He's trying. He can't quite make it. It has to pull back alongside going into turn 1.
See the leader, Bill Elliott, now beginning to lap some of the slower traffic. You can see the slower cars move to the inside of the racetrack to allow the faster guys to have the higher line. It's still Elliott, Earnhardt, Bodine, Wallace, and Darrell Waltrip. And then quite a separation back to the 6th place car driven by Alan Kowicki. Then we have Brett Bodine, Sterling Marlin, Mark Martin, Morgan Shepherd, Harry Gant, Michael Waltrip, Blake Speed, and Davey Allison. The number 44 car of Sterling Marlin, that is currently 8th, has made quite an advance in the first 17 laps of this race. He started 12th and has moved up to 8th spot.
You know, there was a lot of guesswork going on in the garage area this morning, especially since the rain that came last night and this morning, plus the tire situation. Everybody's kind of concerned about, are they going to have enough tires, those kind of things. Everybody was kind of apprehensive about what setup to use. I think some of the drivers are going to just kind of lay back a little bit and not really show all their cards until later in the race.
First 5 cars staying right together.
And those cars all seem to be working pretty well. And Jeff Bodine taking a higher line through turns 1 and 2 than the other drivers. Elliott now beginning to move out a little bit from Earnhardt.
And the Mark Martin, Michael Waltrip, and Blake Speed battle here. And this is for 9th and 10th position.
Boy, you really got to trust each other to run that close. This track is so unforgiving for any little bobble. Those guys are really trusting each other right now. They're moving around traffic, but they're still staying bumper to bumper. That's pretty good racing.
As we mentioned when we introduced him in the starting lineup, Blake Speed, who is running right behind Mark Martin and Michael Waltrip, became a father again. Another daughter for Blake and Risa Speed. Mark Martin in 11th position, Michael Waltrip in 12th. And now up front of these guys, the number 33 car driven by Harry Gant and the 57 car of Morgan Shepherd. Now, Morgan, of course, did not make the race last weekend at Bristol in this car, but he qualified quite well for this event here this weekend, qualifying in 10th position at 158.1. That's the number 57 Heinz-sponsored car.
Bob, the speed right now is not quite as high as we would have thought, although they always slow down during race conditions, but they're running about 32.5 seconds. That computes to about 151.7 miles per hour. So that's some 9 miles an hour off of the pole speed.
The average speed after 20 laps is way up there at 153.675. That's Brett Bodine in car number 15, Sterling Marlin in number 44, as they battle it out for the 6th position.
But you could see Sterling Marlin really got sideways coming off the turn just earlier in this lap. He's really trying hard. He's passed a lot of cars already. Now he's working on Brett Bodine.
And now we're showing you an interval between those guys and those that are running up front. There's the leader, Bill Elliott. He has led all the way so far with 22 laps completed. And there's the interval between first and second. He stretched it out a little bit over Dale Earnhardt.
His car was the last one to go through the NASCAR technical inspection before they pulled it out on the line. I went by to ask Ernie Elliott, his brother, who is the crew chief on the car, if they were having any particular problems, and they had a 2-sheet list there. It looked like about 30 or 35 things that they were going over on that race car. He said, no, we're just checking everything over to be sure that everything is tight, every bolt is tightened, and that there's nothing left loose. And Gary, I guess that's sort of a normal thing that you would do.
Right, we started those checklists several years ago, and they've really proved to help you with your reliability in the race. You check more things when you have a checklist.
36 cars are still on the lead lap. Only 4 have been lapped, and Bill Elliott is setting a pace in excess of 150 miles an hour. We're live on this Labor Day weekend of the Southern 500 in Darlington, and we're back at the Southern 500 in Darlington, and there are the first two. Bill Elliott leading the race in car number 9, and Dale Earnhardt running second in car number 3. As you can see, the last win for a Ford in 1985, and that was by Bill Elliott.
And that was a big win, too, because he got an extra $1 million bonus. Wasn't that 85?
Yes. Here comes the 3rd and 4th place cars. Jeff Bodine there in yellow, and Rusty Wallace right behind him, and then Darrell Waltrip. As Bodine and Wallace are right together now, let's see if Rusty makes a bid here for that spot. He's nearly alongside Jeff on the outside, though. Let's see if Rusty pulls to the inside of the backstretch. Nope, Jeff has just a little bit too much horsepower, it looks like, and is able to separate himself from Wallace by a couple of car lengths.
You can see Rusty Wallace. He's trying pretty hard. There's not much room between his car and the wall, and that is a pretty critical area there in turns 3 and 4. But he is on the move, definitely going after Dale Earnhardt. He wants to lead some laps just as well as Earnhardt does.
I believe that Darrell Waltrip has settled down just a little bit. He was driving very aggressively there at the beginning. It looked like he was going to try to go to the front. He's found it was a little hard to do. He'd have to take some chances to do it. His tires are getting a little bit heated up now. So he decided the best thing I can do is just sit here and ride in this position. No traffic around him anywhere. So he's driving a good, smart race.
It looked like a little bit of a slide there that time for Darrell Waltrip. I don't know, Ned. It's hard to say what he's doing.
I've seen a lot of the cars beginning to slide back in the pack a little bit, and it could be that those tires are getting heated up. They're running their 30th lap right now, and they were getting very concerned about the tires after about 30 laps.
Let's go to Dick Berggren, who's with Jeff Hammond.
Jeff, what is happening with your car and tires?
Dick, right now it looks like the green racetrack, because of the rain last night, looks like the tires are starting to wear out, pretty quick. We just kind of, backed off a little bit to try to conserve them as much as possible and just kind of keep the leaders in sight. The racetrack's going to get better the more we run on it. situation. The track should get better, and hopefully we'll get a caution here, maybe get a chance to get those tires off and evaluate them.
How far can you go if there is not a caution?
Well, probably the tires are going to dictate that more than anything today. On a normal gas stop, you can probably run 65 laps, but I think tires are going to make everybody come in here about 50 laps into this race.
That's why Waltrip's backing off.
Well, you were right about that, Ned.
Well, I tell you, I've seen Darrell Waltrip drive a lot of races, and that's his style.
There's the leader, Bill Elliott, and second place, Dale Earnhardt.
Well, you can imagine, everybody's kind of unsure about the tires right now. The rain has just compounded that question mark, but it's a new tire that Goodyear has brought here to the racetrack. It looks to be very competitive. The Hoosier cars are just about nil. They've got plenty of Hoosier tires, but they're so slow that everybody has gone with the Goodyear tires. Now you see these guys out here. It's gone now 32 laps. They don't know how much rubber's left on their tires. They're all kind of wondering, should I run hard? Should I run easy? Maybe the caution will come out. Maybe we get a chance to check those tires. Just hope it's not me that causes the caution. That's what all the drivers are thinking right now.
Yeah, they're sort of on pins and needles out there right now after they've gone this far, and they know those cars are beginning to slip around a little bit in the turns, and they know that that's as a result of the tires wearing down.
The number 87 car, Randy Baker, is being lapped by Elliott and now by Dale Earnhardt.
Randy Baker, of course, the son of former three-time winner of the Southern 500, Buck Baker, and half-brother of Buddy Baker.
Both races here last year, the Trans-South 500 and the Southern 500. The Hardee's in-car camera, Dale Jarrett's machine. Just ahead is Harry Gant.
That's Phil Parsons just ahead of him there. Phil having a pretty good battle with Bobby Hillen trying to move around him. You can hear Dale back off as he goes into turn one.
Jarrett is running in 21st position, and Phil Parsons is in 20th. Just ahead is Terry Labonte in the number 11 car, and Benny Parsons, who's running 18th. It's Bobby Hillen Jr. there in number 8. There's the Dale Jarrett Hardee's.
Listen to the way they work the throttle in a turn 8. Right there. Let up a little. Now back on the throttle. That's the way they go through those turns here at Darlington. They give it to some gas and they let up again. So it really is 4 turns here. There's a good shot of the tack. You can see it dropping. He's getting back on the gas just a little bit. No, he's letting out off a little. Off, back on, wide open.
He got a little high coming off of that turn, and he had to get off of the gas again off of number 2. Normally, once you accelerate off of turn number 2, you can hold it open up the backstretch. And you can see Dale working the brake with his left foot. Now, that's something I could never do. I just never learned to do it. I always took my right foot off of the gas and onto the brake, which takes more time. So those drivers that can brake with their left foot, I think it's better.
He is giving himself just a little bit of security, Ned. Could you see him? He pumped the pedal one time before he actually applied it. That gave him just a little feeling that he is going to have brakes when he gets to where he really needs them.
Now Richard Petty is right on the back bumper of Dale Jarrett. There you can see the man at work in the office.
Well, I'm glad it's him and not me today.
Really paying attention to his mirror.
You can see our camera moving around over Dale's shoulder there. And there is the shot from that camera as Richard Petty makes a bid going to the inside of Dale as they go down the backstretch.
Richard has come out of a pack of cars back there behind him. He's running good. He's passed a lot of cars.
Yeah, he was 25th just about 2 or 3 laps ago and has now moved up to 22nd spot.
Well, Dale definitely knows he's there. You could see him looking at him in the mirror 2 or 3 times on each straightaway. Looking inside at the end of the straightaway. Now falling back behind the Oldsmobile of Dale Jarrett. Now pulling alongside of the turn down the backstretch. Once again, Richard Petty tries to take that
first position away from Dale Jarrett, but can't do it.
You could see on the corners of the screen, well, just to one side or the other, the weight jackers that they use to adjust the wedge. I can't quite see it in this shot, but there's
and we have a yellow flag out. And this is for a mandatory pit stop that NASCAR has agreed to have so that the cars and the drivers can come in and the crews check for tire wear.
I think this is a good move because there were a lot of uncertainties going into this race as far as the tire wear is concerned, especially after the rain last night. So I think that's a good safety move.
You can almost feel the sigh of relief from the drivers, knowing that the tires are wearing or not knowing how much they're wearing. This is really a big relief for all the teams to be able to check the tire wear.
Even those running up front.
And this caution comes out on lap number 40. So now we'll watch the work in the pit area. Some are pitted on the back stretch here. Some are on the front stretch. Most of the starters up front are pitted here on the front stretch.
You see the pace car came out and picked up the leader on the back straightaway, really going into the third turn. That's something new here at Darlington. They tried it last week at Bristol, and they were pretty happy with it. Let's see how it works here at Darlington.
By the way, when we left the air yesterday afternoon after a Busch Grant National race, there was some question as to the condition of Jim Graham, who had a collision with Tommy Houston. Jim is okay. Let's go to the pits quickly.
Bill Elliott in the car number 9, the Corey Sport. Now remember, during the drivers meeting this morning, some of the drivers and crews requested this caution flag of NASCAR. Said, hey guys, give us one between 30 and 40 laps so we can check these tires. Well, NASCAR has obliged after seeing a number of these cars slipping and sliding. Bodine, Elliott, 4 tires down and away. Let's go to Dick Berger.
Jerry, everybody up and down pit road is taking 4 tires, but Bill Elliott is going to be the first out. Waltrip, Earnhardt, and then Bodine out of pit area. Waltrip comes out 4th.
Well, they come out of the pit area just about the way they were running. Elliott was first, followed by Earnhardt, then Jeff Bodine, Darrell Waltrip, and Rusty Wallace. So Rusty did lose 1 position, but they're basically coming out just the way they went in. So the tires have been changed now, and the crews are very carefully assessing the amount of wear that these Goodyears had in the first 40 laps of this race. The Southern 500 on ESPN this Labor Day weekend. We'll be back with more after these messages. We're under caution for the first time in the Southern 500, a mandatory caution period called by NASCAR so that the crews could check for tire wear. It came out on lap number 40, and we are now on the 42nd lap, as most have come in for their tire check. Now, the top runners at this moment, Bill Elliott in front, Dale Earnhardt second, Jeff Bodine third, Darrell Waltrip fourth, and Rusty Wallace running in 5th position. Sterling Marlin, Brett Bodine, Morgan Shepherd, Harry Gant, and Terry Labonte are 6 through 10. Let's go to Jerry Punch.
Well, you're looking at the tires that came off the Dale Earnhardt car, and I'm standing with his car owner, Richard Childers. And Richard, how about the tires? What's your verdict?
Well, you know, it would have been close on a full gas stop, but the car's working real good right there on them. Was beginning to get a little bit loose. That was due to the tire wear, but looks like the tires are going to hold up real good. And with a green racetrack, you know, after it rained, the tire wear will pick up a lot better after we get some rubber back on the track. So I think we're going to be okay in another stop or 2.
What he means when the tire wear will pick up, he means that with more rubber on the racetrack, there'll be less and less tire wear, so we should be pretty good throughout the rest of the day. Let's go to Dick Berger. Dick?
Jerry, I'm hearing pretty much the same story down here. I just talked to Jeff Hammond. He says he can go between fuel stops at a set of tires. That's good. It appears the tire concerns are for naught. The tires are going to last between fuel stops. That is a relief, I'll tell you what.
All right, thank you, guys. You know, drivers many years ago had a very unique way of checking for tire wear. Certainly nothing like they have today. In the Joe Weatherly Museum, Dr. Jerry Punch and an ESPN Quick Fact. Quick Facts are brought to you by Quaker State Motor Oil. The big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will.
This is the 1959 Chevrolet Impala that won the 10th running of the Southern 500, with Jim Reed as driver. Well, the concern for the drivers and crew back then was the same as today, and that's tire wear. How were the tires wearing? Were they blistering or coming apart? Well, this crew, among others, developed a unique method for checking tires during the race without a pit stop. Let me show you. This crude but effective system involved a series of cotton cords tied to trapdoors in the floorboard. The driver would merely reach over, pull this cotton cord, and say, "Hello, right front tire, how you doing?" During the race, he could check it any time. Now, it wouldn't work today, but it was effective in 1959.
Many innovations in auto racing down through the years. Cloudy skies are over the Darlington International Raceway as we're at the Southern 500, and we'll be right back.
At the end of a busy week, make breakfast more complete.
367 laps completed in the Southern 500. The leader is Bill Elliott. Second, Dale Earnhardt. Third, Jeff Bodine. Fourth is Darrell Waltrip. And fifth is Sterling Marlin. Elliott did not lose the lead in those pit stops. He has led every lap. There's also racing today, IndyCar racing at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Here's a report from Jack Arute.
We'd like to welcome you, those of you that have been following the action in the Southern 500. We're here at the Radar Escort Warning Detector 200, and Emerson Fittipaldi is your leader. But the story thus far has been what was determined as a wet start has now been determined that dry tires, slick tires, are necessitated. Some of the lead contingent have already pitted. Danny Sullivan, Bobby Rahal, Mario Andretti, but your leader here, Emerson Fittipaldi, continues to circuit the racetrack on wet tires, the rain tires, and now he presents his car on pit road. You can see him trying to go just as fast as he can to the service of the McLaren of the Marlboro pit from the Pat Patrick Racing team. They will make the exchange, Johnny Rutherford, and
gonna have to be quick because Mario has already made his stop and got the dry tires on. All of these precious seconds, they've refueled the car, they've got the tires on the car, he's away. He may be able to maintain the lead. Now they're making a wing change. There he goes. Now he's away. He might be able to maintain that lead. He had enough of a lead on Mario after Mario stopped, so this is going to be interesting to see.
So far, it looks as if he's been able to make the exchange. Indeed, he has. Emerson Fittipaldi continues to lead here. Mario Andretti is second. And for those of you that are watching the Southern 500, we're going to switch you back to Darlington right now.
All right, thank you, Jack, for the report on the Escort Radar Warning 200 IndyCar race from Mid-Ohio. We're at the Southern 500, and the green is back out with Bill Elliott continuing to lead. We have seen some real dicing going on here since the green came out. It's a completely different race. We have seen Bill Elliott continue to lead, but Earnhardt and Bodine hooked up in some good racing. And here is Harry Gant, who is going behind the wall with a valve train problem.
Well, that's too bad for Harry. Of course, he won here yesterday in the Busch Grand National race and was running very well in this race today, but it looks like he will not win his second Southern 500.
Well, the reports we're getting are valve-related or valve train problem, and that usually comes from, part of it is the titanium valves that these guys are running. Every once in a while, there's just a bad valve. You can't have any way of checking it beforehand, but also it's RPM related. If you over-rev the engine, you can lose a valve. So it's either a bad part or over too many RPMs that causes that kind of problem.
All right, we're watching the Dale Earnhardt, Jeff Bodine, Sterling Marlin battle here, second, third, and fourth. Marlin really has been the star of the race, in my opinion, so far. We have a smoking car going into turn number one. That's Morgan Shepherd in car number 57. A big puff of smoke from the race car as he brings it down onto the apron. And we have no yellow on the racetrack. The green staying out, but Morgan Shepherd's car has certainly suffered some kind of a problem. Yellow flag now does come out.
Because he blew here on the front straightaway, he quickly got it down out of the groove, but he might have put a little oil down on the track. And so rather than take a chance of some spins or something like that, they brought the yellow out.
So the track crew will come out to check for moisture on the racetrack. The second caution period of the afternoon comes out on lap number 54. And look at the yellow flag. It is, it's literally on the racetrack.
Well, it's getting beat around quite a bit there, too. But it's still got a spare up there. Harold Kinder's always prepared. And by the way, Harold is back with us here this weekend.
Good to see Harold back in the starter stand.
You see Harold wearing the radio. He's talking, when he pushes that button with his left hand, he's talking to Dick Beatty or one of the race directors upstairs. I can imagine what they're saying to him. They said, Harold, throw out the yellow. But I did what you said, boss.
Let's go to Dick Berggren.
Well, if you were with us a couple of weeks ago at Michigan International Speedway, you saw a pit fire. One of the crew members, Gerald Oakley, was burned in that fire. Fortunately, he's out of the hospital now, but we're seeing some new attire on pit road. Take a look at Mike Powell, the gas man on Darrell Waltrip's car. He's got a Nomex hat. He's got Nomex gloves, Nomex shoes. He's got a fireproof uniform. These guys are really beginning to take fire safety seriously. Meanwhile, up pit road, Terry Labonte is among the very few who's decided to take advantage of this yellow flag. He is on a 4-tire pit stop.
Well, so is Phil Parsons, Davey Allison, and it looks like Kyle Petty also is in. So,
well, Terry Labonte, apparently Terry Labonte had put Hoosiers on. Now he's switching back to the Goodyears.
Okay, that was Alan Kowicki, not Kyle Petty, that was in the pits. Kowicki's ready to go out now.
So you can see there Terry Labonte, Phil Parsons, and Alan Kowicki getting the sign to move back out on the racetrack so that they do not pick up any advantage. Under caution for the second time. We'll be right back. Gary Nelson, Dick Berggren, and Jerry Punch back at Darlington International Raceway for ESPN Speed World on this day before Labor Day and the traditional Southern 500. There you can see the green flag is coming back out from our second caution of the afternoon, caused by an apparent blown motor by Morgan Shepherd, and a scramble for position. No, we do not have a green flag out as the caution remains on the racetrack. So the cars will slow down here. You can see Earnhardt shooting past Bill Elliott, but the yellow is staying on the race course.
Earnhardt doesn't, he wants to try to lead this lap. If the green actually was displayed, he can race back to the yellow. I didn't see whether the green flag actually was waved or not. We'll find out, I'm sure, here real soon.
I think it was. I think I saw it. Any case, the yellow is out again.
This will be interesting because I think if the yellow had if the green had never been waved, that the pace car should have been waiting for them when they came around. I don't know if they're going to credit Earnhardt with that lap or not. It's going to be hard to tell.
Let's take a look at the restart and see if we can find the green flag here from Harold Kinder.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. The green flag is absolutely waving.
If Earnhardt was the first back to the line, I didn't really get a look at it. Earnhardt, yeah, well, yellow's back out. I don't know. I think the yellow NASCAR may be saying the yellow was back out before the leader actually got to the line. I don't know. It's a close call there.
Okay, NASCAR says that was a continued yellow, no green. So even if Dale did beat Elliott back to the line, that does not give him credit for a leading lap. And the reason that we had the yellow come out again, or actually never come out, is a can on the backstretch. So the field is still under the caution flag as we are now 58 laps into this race. We'll be right back after this.
We've been real friends forever. Win, lose, or
Carolina for the Southern 500. We're under caution still because of debris on the racetrack. We should be going green here very, very shortly. Bill Elliott is the leader of the race. Dale Earnhardt is running in second spot. Jeff Bodine is third, and fourth is Sterling Marlin. Now you can see the two abreast formation beginning to form as the lap car of Dave Marcus will be moving to the inside of Bill Elliott. Marcus is one lap down. Let's go to Dr. Jerry Punch, who's in the Rusty Wallace pit.
Well, Barry Dotson's the crew chief for Rusty Wallace. And Barry, you guys decided on that first caution flag to go from Goodyear to Hoosier. Why?
Well, Goodyear, they kind of rationed everybody tires. They don't have any more, and they're wearing terribly bad. You know, that should get better. Hopefully it will. We got plenty of Goodyears back here, too. Don't get us wrong. Right now, the Hoosiers competitive. It was a little bit slower on the start, and we were starting to gain on them. They were starting to come to us. So what we're basically doing is trying to save our tires. And Rusty said the car's good on the Hoosiers, so we're just trying to be safe. We lost 2 cars this year, and we can't afford to lose another one.
That's Barry Dotson, among other crew chiefs, going to Hoosier tires. Check Brett Bodine in the Bud Moore car. He is on Hoosiers, as is Kenny Schrader. And, of course, we mentioned Terry Labonte was on Hoosiers, but he has come back in and now switched back to the Goodyears. So Rusty Wallace, Kenny Schrader, and Brett Bodine all on the Hoosiers.
And add Michael Waltrip to that, too, Jerry. He came in during that first caution and put Hoosiers on.
as we see them getting ready for the green flag, you know that the guys are questionable on whether they want to run their Goodyears. The Goodyears seem to be faster. Barry said they were starting to even out now, but Barry and his Rusty Wallace team are all going a little conservative because of the points, I think.
It's a 3 abreast restart as the green comes out on lap number 60. And 30 cars remain in the lead lap. 40 began the race.
Earnhardt has really been trying to take that lead from Bill Elliott. Every restart, he just dives into turn 1, trying to get that 5-point bonus early on in this race to get at least one lap led.
Jarrett is working traffic in the Hardee's Oldsmobile. That's Bobby Hillin Jr. right ahead of him.
He's in very heavy traffic back there. They've been running several of them side by side. You can see Jim Sauter down on the inside driving the Slender U car this week. Michael Walter coming by in the car number 30. Dale needs to get to the inside, it looks like.
And he's trying to as they go into the corner.
It almost appears that Mark Martin in the blue car up there might be holding these guys up. They're all trying to get around Mark Martin, and he may have some kind of problem.
Boy, look at the tight racing here. Holy mackerel. That's Kyle Petty that went low. Terry Labonte working the low side of the racetrack. They can spread out 3 and 4 wide down the straightaway, but then it's a scramble for a single file formation in the corners.
Well, Mark Martin pulled to the inside now. They're kind of going by. He has some kind of problem. He was holding up that pack. You can see him headed for the pits.
Mark Martin slowing on the racetrack at the end of the backstretch, and his crew is getting ready for the pit stop. Mark Martin will come in for a stop. Mark qualified very well, started this race in 7th spot in the Strolite Ford. And there he is, headed for pit road.
Boy, he has been running very competitively, but right there he had some major problem because he was sure causing a big bottleneck behind himself.
And he was about to overshoot his pits. In fact, he did overshoot his pits. Let's go to Dick Berman.
He did it. I'm not really sure why he overshot his pit, but the air hoses won't even reach properly to change his tires. They're trying to move the bottles in. Yesterday they penalized Bodine for that same infraction. Remains to be seen whether they'll do that here today for Mark Martin. Change the right side, left side they've let him go.
Well, as you mentioned, Dick, a very similar situation occurred yesterday afternoon in the Busch Grand National race as Jeff Bodine did basically the same thing, just overshot the pit by 1, and there was a penalty assessed by NASCAR for that. We'll see if there is such a thing here in the Winston Cup event. There you can see the first 4. They're nose to tail. It's Bill Elliott, Dale Earnhardt, Jeff Bodine, and Sterling Marlin. And I mentioned a little bit earlier that, in my opinion, Sterling Marlin has to be congratulated on a very fine first 65 laps. He started back in the 12th position and has worked his way up steadily and now is in 4th.
Well, he would like, his mother is ill and in the hospital. He would like to win this race for her today. Jake Elder told him this morning, Sterling, I've given you the car. All we need is enough tires to run this thing for you to drive it. Sterling said, I can drive it, and no question about that. So he's really driving with a lot of incentive there today.
I can almost picture that conversation from the crew chief to the driver. Look, you've got the best of everything. We got everything going for you. All you got to do is go out there and win it for us. And talk about pressure, boy.
Yeah, I would say so. That's real pressure on your shoulders. Tight racing here. Michael Waltrip, Ken Schrader in 25, and the 8 car of Bobby Hillin Jr. and Dale Jarrett in 29.
Well, that group has really been going at it. Michael Waltrip just went around Ken Schrader going into turn 1, pushed him high in the turn. Schrader tried to get back to him, but couldn't quite do it.
Hillin moves to the inside down the front stretch. That's Ken Schrader in the Folgers car ahead. Michael Waltrip in the yellow car. Waltrip with a fine run in substitution for Darrell Waltrip in the Busch Grand National race yesterday. Here comes Kyle Petty now, trying to make a move on Dale Jarrett. Look at this, 3 abreast. Now Dale moves high on the track, and Kyle goes low and takes the spot.
Boy, slid right across in front of Dale's bumper, but he got the position.
And here's the way it looks on the racetrack. Kyle Petty, car 21. Dale Jarrett, 28.
It's almost as if they've changed their driving style from what we saw in the first 40 laps. You know, before that caution flag, everybody looked kind of cautious, and now it looks like they're just going at it like the NASCAR we all have seen so far this year.
Gary, there's car number 25, Ken Schrader. He sat on the pole here for the Trans-South back in the spring, but that car is not working nearly as well this time as it did then.
No, he sure is fighting it. You know, he's almost losing a position every lap here in the last few laps. It looks like he's got a handling problem of some sort. It's hard to picture what it is from here, but I'm sure we'll find out as time goes on.
There you can see Dale Jarrett trying to move inside of Ken Schrader and take away a position. 70 laps now complete in the Southern 500. We'll be back. They're the top 10, 69 laps completed. Back at the Southern 500, Bill Elliott leads the race. Second position is Dale Earnhardt. Third is Jeff Bodine. And in fourth position is Sterling Martin. Now, Mark Martin has moved his Ford behind the wall. And look at the various members of teams that have come over, assessing the situation, and right there hoping that perhaps they can pick up Mark Martin's tires if Mark is finished for the afternoon.
Well, you know they're trying to fix the car, whatever the problem is. They're trying to get him back into the race. You can see the mechanic there working on it. Let's go to Dick Bergman and see what the problem is.
Well, Gary, the reason that he overshot his pit was he didn't have any brakes, and that's what they're trying to put on. And you're absolutely right. What a menagerie of vultures down here looking for tires. There's guys from Bodine's pit, Davey Allison's, Alan Kowicki's, Terry Labonte, Bill Elliott, Ricky Rudd. I've got somebody here from just about everybody's pit trying to scrounge tires while these guys are trying to put some brakes on Mark Martin's car. So far, they're not going to give up anything at all.
Good description there, Dick. It indeed reminded us of some vultures gathering around a carcass, because they just descended on the Mark Martin car and kind of stood around and said, wonder if he can stay in the race or whether he'll be out for the afternoon. But as you can see, they are working on the car, and it's more than likely that Mark Martin will be able to get back into competition. Bill Elliott has the lead. Here's the battle for second position. Elliott has separated himself from Dale Earnhardt in number 3, Jeff Bodine in 5, and Sterling Marlin in car number 44.
You know, before the race, I talked with several of the crew chiefs and the team members, and just about every team has assigned somebody to go after tires during the race. If somebody has a problem, that person is supposed to run to that pit and try and get at least one or as many tires as he can get. Everybody's concerned about the tire wear. It doesn't look like it's going to be as big of a problem as everybody anticipated based on the tire wear we've seen.
Let's give a call to Brett Bodine, who is hanging in there in 5th position. He's not too far behind that battle of 3rd, 4th, and 5th place. Brett having a good run here today in the Budmore Ford.
There you can see the average speed of the race is 121.080. That's off of the race record. We have had 2 caution periods. That has reduced the speed of the event. Benny Parsons is having a fine run this afternoon. Benny has moved up to 6th position already, and he began this race from 27th, so he is doing very, very fine. He's the number 90 car there, and this is the car owned by Junie Donlevy. And by the way, Junie's the only active crew chief to have entered the first Southern 500 in 1950. And the number 4 car of Rick Wilson is coming in. Apparently, it's an overheating problem for Rick Wilson. So he goes back, and you can see that the water temperature is way up there.
Oh, yeah, he is definitely overheating right now, and that is a tough thing this early in a race to try and find. Oh, he's going to the garage. Yeah, it's so hard to cool off an engine. Usually it's a head gasket or something like that in the cooling system that's almost impossible to repair during a race.
The hood goes up on the Kodak Oldsmobile.
Yeah, there's going to be a big gang of crew members around Rick Wilson's crew if they can find out where he parked. I'm sure they're all asking, where'd that car go? Let's go find the crew chief. We've got to get some tires.
These 3 guys have been running close together on the racetrack for, well, really since the green came out from our most recent caution period. Earnhardt, Jeff Bodine, and Sterling Marlin. Nobody seems to be in a hurry to try to pass any other one. They're just kind of sitting back there and seeing what happens. In the meantime, Bill Elliott continues to stretch out the advantage.
His car is really working here today. He can drive it anywhere he wants to on the racetrack. They worked hard yesterday in setting the car up, and it looks like they did their homework.
Here's here's a shot of Davey Allison going around Ken Schrader. Ken Schrader continues to have his problems. It looks almost as if the car is pushing as he goes into the turns. It just kind of like it doesn't turn it. He has to just kind of take it easy and hope for some chassis adjustments to get the car going again.
Of course, Gary, when we say pushing, that means the car is not turning. The front end is not turning when you go into the turn. The back end is holding too tight.
Boy, watch as he goes in the turn. You can almost see as the car approaches the turn, everybody else kind of stays a little bit lower. He's starting low, but he's going straight up towards the wall, and he's turning the wheel as good as he can, but Neil Bonnet right behind him is able to hold the car just a little bit lower. Ken Schrader would sure like it to turn a little bit better, I think.
Jerry's in the garage area with Rick Wilson.
Rick is still sitting in the Kodak Oldsmobile, and they are adding water to the engine compartment, as you can see, and the engine temperature is cooling down. We'll try to get a comment with Rick. Rick, what seems to be the problem?
I don't know, Jerry. We must have a busted cylinder head or something that started overheating. Run about 260, but, you know, we're running real good. The Kodak BMW Remy car was running good today. We had a problem.
Well, that's Rick Wilson. They're going to try to get back out. They hope it's not a rusted head. They hope it's just something in the cooling system they can fix, but they are here in the garage trying to fix it. Meanwhile, the vultures are starting to gather around here. A few other teams standing by, hoping to collect those valuable tires.
Well, those vultures that were around Mark Martin's car have now moved away because Mark is back in the race, but he has Hoosiers on. He's many laps down, of course, so they may be using their Hoosiers and perhaps offering for bid the Goodyears.
But you know Goodyear has brought enough tires here to run the race. It's the thing is that when the teams found out that the Hoosier tires weren't as competitive, or they didn't think they were, everybody rushed over to Goodyear and said, I want 10 sets or I want 11 sets. And Goodyear said finally, look, every team can have 6 sets. A lot of the teams that run farther in the back of the pack don't use that many tires here at this type of race. In fact, a lot of them use tires off of other cars. So there are enough tires around. It's just going to be who can go out and scurry around and gather them up for their team.
The minimum number of tires that NASCAR requires for each tire company is 1,000 tires, and Goodyear did bring 1,000 here. And as you said, the Goodyear tires proved to be faster on the racetrack, so the teams naturally put those on. Every car started on the Goodyear tires, and so they had to allot them just 6 sets per team.
And there you can see Rick Wilson in the Kodak Oldsmobile going back out onto the racetrack. So they have apparently cooled that car off, and Rick Wilson will see if he can be a competitor once again in the Southern 500. We're glad you could join us on this Sunday afternoon for this Winston Cup event at Darlington, South Carolina. To lead the Southern 500, but we have had a change of position in second. While we were away, Jeff Bodine grabbed second position from Dale Earnhardt, and this is how he did it.
Well, he moved up on the outside of Dale Earnhardt. Unusual way to pass here at Darlington, but Earnhardt didn't fight him as they went into turn 1. Bodine just drove in a little deeper. His car's been working very good on the high side of the racetrack, and he took the position.
And so Jeff Bodine is now second. Dale Earnhardt is third. Fourth position belongs to Sterling Marlin, and Brett Bodine is in fifth spot. Well, the weather doesn't look too bad here at Darlington, at least for the moment. The clouds are still pretty broken. However, we understand there is inclement weather at Mid-Ohio. Let's go once again for Report and Jackaroo.
Bob, you are so right. The inclement weather here has taken its toll as we see the Roberto Guerrero car. He spun in the wet, and he is off the race course trying to make his way back in the madness portion, actually in turn number 8. But your leader continues to be this man, Emerson Fittipaldi, driving the Lola from the Pat Patrick stable, and he has been back on pit road and has exchanged the slick tires because it's begun to rain. He's gone back to rain tires. All of your front runners have done likewise, and they are trying to sort the cars out once again. Johnny Rutherford, it's not really totally wet on the race course, but they've all elected to go to the wet tires.
Well, you have to. You know, it's a situation where you've got to go with the wets if it's wet at all, because this place is very slippery.
Fittipaldi is your leader here, Bob. Bobby Rahal is in second. Rick Mears is in third. In fourth position is Mario Andretti. And what a surprise, starting last on this field, he's moved to fifth, is Raul Boesel. For those of you watching the Southern 500, we're going back to Darlington now, and Bob Jenkins.
All right, thank you, Jack. There's the leader, Bill Elliott, as he is working some of the slower traffic in the Southern 500. Lap number 91 is completed here. Bill Elliott, 26 career super speedway races. Jeff Bodine still in second position. There's the interval between first and second. Bodine now has the second spot over Dale Earnhardt. The average speed at the end of 90 laps is 126.416 miles an hour. Let's go to Dick Bergman, who's in Bodine's pit.
And I'm going to tell you what, Bodine's crew members are working on what should be considered gold. A set of Goodyear tires. They got them from car number 6, Mark Martin. Now, Martin's original strategy today was to stick on the Goodyears only until the first caution period. Then he was going to switch to Hoosiers. Why? They were going to trade off going a little bit slower for a tire they thought would go a little bit longer. But now they've got brake problems. They're kind of out of it, so they're going to just try to pace themselves and run the distance of the race. And these guys wound up the benefactors. 4 pieces of gold, Goodyear tires sitting here in Bodine's pit. Extras.
Boy, that is something. You know, right ahead of Jeff Bodine here on the racetrack is Mark Martin. I wonder if old Jeff will give Mark a wave as he goes by, because Mark has had brake problems. When you have a problem like that, you need to stay out there for various reasons, you know, points and a lot of other things that you can learn from this type of race by staying out there. But I'm sure Mark Martin isn't going to be running quite as hard as he was earlier.
The leader, Bill Elliott, lapping the 25 car of Ken Schrader. Gary, you've told us in the past that every crew chief has a book on a particular racetrack and the race. What's the book say about this racetrack in the Southern 500?
Well, Darlington, we really thought this track over the last, historically over the last 10 or 15 years, has really repeated itself, especially the Southern 500. We had a real close, accurate way of predicting what was going to happen based on history. You know, there was always a long stretch of green towards the middle stages of the race where the drivers kind of took it easy and paced themselves. And then there was a caution maybe 150 miles to go, and then there was no more caution flags to the finish. So it almost happened every race. But the last several years, 2 or 3 years, let's say, it's been changing. It's almost unpredictable anymore. I think it was after they repaved the track that we almost had to throw the playbook away, and now we're creating a new one. So we really don't have a lot of history on the track at this point.
And Ned, they did change this track several years ago. How did it change?
Well, they rebanked or redid turns 3 and 4 and actually made them a little bit wider, and of course put up a cement wall around them. When I was driving race cars here back in the early to mid 60s, there was a single guardrail for a while, and then they did put up a double guardrail, and you literally had to run the car right up next to the guardrail between turns 3 and 4, and that's where the term the Darlington stripe came from. If you finished that race and didn't have the right side of the sheet metal worn off of the car, you didn't run very fast in the race because you had to just hang it out up there and touch that guardrail all the way around. It was absolutely a one-groove track then. Now, we've seen some passing already here today in turns 3 and 4, and you can do it much better than you could back then. Back then, you absolutely could do no passing.
Watching second place, Jeff Bodine, the yellow and white number 5, and third place, Dale Earnhardt in car number 3. Sterling Marlin continues to run in 4th. Brett Bodine is 5th. And somewhat of a surprise, Benny Parsons has moved up to 6th position. And as we indicated, Benny is getting a very good ride out of that car. He started 27th, and boy, he has just been going to the front ever since. And you can see now that Brett Bodine is right ahead of him, so Benny is really in a bid to take over the 5th place position. As you can see, he started 27th. At the end of 50 laps, he was 9th. And at the end of 97 laps, he had moved to 6th position. Benny has already indicated that this may be his final year of Winston Cup racing, but he would sure like to go out in a blaze of glory.
You know, talking about the records we keep on the tracks, one of the interesting things about Darlington, before Bill Elliott came along now, Darlington, especially the Southern 500, was almost always won by the older, more experienced type drivers. You know, Bobby Allison, not saying that they're that old, but not as young as the rookie or earlier in their career type drivers. Bobby Allison, David Pearson had a lot of victories here. Benny Parsons looking real good here. All of that kind of changed when Bill Elliott came along, because he had almost his best success at this racetrack. So the track has definitely been changing over the last 5 or 6 years.
Well, Benny Parsons is starting in his 17th Southern 500. His best finish was back in 1980 when he finished in 4th. The number 44 car there is driven by Sterling Marlin, and he is in 4th position.
Brett Bodine beginning to move up on him. That's not Brett Bodine right there, but you can see Brett coming into the picture back there. So he has gained on Sterling. And of course, Benny Parsons is right behind Brett Bodine as they come off of turn 4.
So 4th, 5th, and 6th right here, as 5th and 6th are trying to work some of the slower traffic, and it isn't easy to get around slower traffic on this very narrow grooved racetrack. So the Southern 500 now just a little over 100 laps old, and we'll be back right after this.
The Canadian Soccer League, live on TSN. Weekly coverage of 17 regular season games, plus playoff action and the championship final. Many players are World Cup veterans who double with Canada's national team. TSN's Vic Router handles the play-by-play alongside former Scottish international Graham Leggett. Next on our schedule, the Toronto Blizzards battle the Hamilton Steelers live Sunday, September 4th, starting at 7 Eastern. Sundays mean the CSL on TSN.
Home is where a friendly smile, after all that road and all those miles, makes it all worthwhile. Home is where you keep your Coors. That's easy-going Coors. Cold gold. Smooth as gold, cold as an unexpected shower. So next time you're having a long day, ask the folks back home to keep the light burning on the porch.
It leads the Southern 500, but we are beginning to see pit stops made, as this is the time that they are going to need a fuel stop. Elliott stays out on the racetrack. However, coming down pit road is Jeff Bodine, who is running in 2nd position. His pit is at the far end of pit road. Dick Berggren is there to call it.
Well, Bob, it's going to be a 2-tire change for Jeff Bodine. Gee, he's in awful early in comparison to some of the people he was racing with. Hello, up pit road. We're seeing some others rushing. Wallace has just come in now. Right side tires, a load of fuel. That'll be it for Bodine. A lot of heavy hitters still on the racetrack, not taking their pit stops. They're getting better gas mileage, apparently.
Michael Waltrip pulling out just ahead of Jeff Bodine, and here comes the leader. And Elliott puts a lap on Jeff Bodine, as several are making pit stops. Here's Rusty Wallace going out of the pits, and let's go to Jerry Punch, who's in the Dale Earnhardt pit.
Well, Dale Earnhardt brings the Goodrich Chevrolet in. Rusty Wallace just came in and changed right side tires only. Meanwhile, we saw Bobby Hillin come in for 4 tires, and they finished in the right side tires. Looks like right side tires only for the Goodrich Chevrolet. Bill Elliott, the leader, will be making his way down pit road. Here's Elliott making his way down pit road. Bill Elliott now bringing the Coors Ford down pit road. Elliott here looks like possibly he will get right side tires as well. The Coors crew goes to work on the right side of the Jackson Easter car. And apparently they're going to change 4 tires on Bill Elliott's car. They're on the right side of Bill Elliott's car. We're on the left side of the car and change left side tires. We are here in the Bill Elliott pit. 2nd can of fuel going in. Dan Elliott now putting the left front tire on the left rear tire on, dropping off the jack. Great pit stop. 21.1 seconds. Great for Bill Elliott.
That was a very good pit stop to have changed 4 tires, and of course that's going to make him very fast once he gets back out on the racetrack.
Well, that was a good move. Especially, it's easier to make that decision for Ernie Elliott leading the race. Jeff Bodine was 2nd on the racetrack, but here's Bill Elliott coming back up to speed. He's only about 3 seconds behind Jeff. That 21-second pit stop was amazing for that Coors crew.
And when all the pit stops are made, Bill will be in 2nd position, because he did position himself on the racetrack ahead of Dale Earnhardt.
Yeah, provided there are no yellow flags come out. You know, the way we always figured it takes about 34 seconds from the time you come off the racetrack to change 2 tires and get back up to speed. You'll be 34 seconds behind the guy that you were just racing with. Here comes Sterling Marlin into the pits. Looks like they're going to make some chassis adjustments there.
Let's go to Dick Berggren.
Well, it's just going to be 2 tires for Sterling Marlin. Gee, everybody up and down pit road is just doing 2, except for Elliott. Now, that should give him a pretty good advantage to have 4 fresh tires on when everybody he's racing against is taking only 2. There's Sterling Marlin right next to us. Darrell Waltrip's team is getting ready to pit him up the road. Schrader's crew is ready to pit him. Everybody is going to be coming in right about now. But I'm going to tell you what, if anybody else takes a 4-tire change, I'll be surprised. Elliott has an advantage on this deal.
Carlin, by the way, was the leader before he came in, so that puts him out of the lead serial now. And the number 83 car of Lake Speed inherits the lead with pit stops going on. Ken Schrader is pitted right ahead of us as we continue to watch Lake Speed pick up some Winston Cup points for being a leader of the Southern 500. Darrell Waltrip's crew has completed work on that car. He was running in second and now builds up momentum and goes back out onto the racetrack.
Well, one of the cars that was running back, Dale Jarrett, was running about 15th before he made his pit stop. He did take home 4 tires as well, and that has caused him to go a lap down.
It's kind of a tough deal here at Darlington when you come out of the pits. We saw Darrell, he almost went straight from pit road up onto the banking, and some of the other drivers stayed low against the grass. You've got to commit yourself, either go up on the banking and hope there's nobody there because you can't do much about it, or stay low around near the grass and run all the way around to the back straightaway before you get up onto the racetrack.
And of course the fast way to do it is to go up on the banking. Lake Speed coming into the pits, he had inherited the lead. Darrell Bryant, former driver, now crew chief on the Kmart Wins Oldsmobile of Lake Speed, getting right side tires. Of course, he was the winner here in the Trans-South 500 back in spring. Let's go to Jerry Punch.
Well, Lake Speed's wins. Kmart crew putting right side tires on his Oldsmobile. Alan Kowicki is also in the pits, and he is getting right side tires as well. You're seeing Alan Kowicki, Xerox Sport. He qualified third and running awfully well. Lake Speed now exiting pit road, heading back to turn 1. Let's go back to Alan Kowicki now. Right side tires. Kowicki off the jacket, exiting down pit road.
The leader is Ricky Rudd in car number 26. He started this race, by the way, in 29th position. So Rudd now has a lead, but he needs a pit stop, and he'll need it rather quickly. With 113 laps completed, we're at the Southern 500. Rudd is the leader. We'll be back right after these. Back at Darlington, and Davey Allison now has the lead of the Southern 500, and he is among the last to make this second pit stop of the afternoon. So when he does come in for a stop, the lead will go back to Bill Elliott, who has passed Jeff Bodine on the racetrack and is in officially second position.
Boy, this is where it really gets tough for everybody. If the yellow comes out right now, it's really a decision. Who really is the leader? NASCAR keeps pretty good track of it, but it is a little slow during green flag pit stops when somebody does stay out an extra length of time, like Davey Allison. I think he made one of those pit stops on that last caution when others didn't, so he's got a little more fuel.
Yeah, he came in. There was a caution that came out 5 or 6 laps after another one when everybody had come in, and he came back in and changed tires. We understand that he switched from one brand to the other, and of course they topped it off with fuel during that time, so he has a little extra gas. Plus the fact that Davy's been getting good gas mileage on that Ford this year.
Yeah, we would expect him to be coming in pretty soon, though, because those cautions really weren't too far apart. You know, I think the first caution was around lap 40, then the next one was, what, 44 or something like that, 45. So Davey Allison is getting exceptional mileage.
This is only Davy's second start in the Southern 500. He was 29th in 1987, just last year, in the rain-shortened event. Of course, he was the winner at Michigan in a race we televised for you here on ESPN. Last week in the Crystal, ran a very strong 4th on the short track. The number 31 car there, right ahead of Davey Allison, is being driven this weekend by Jim Sauter.
You can see that one shot, the back of that Jim Sauter car had almost a dark looking area. That was oil. That car's got some kind of an oil leak, and it shows up first on the back panel right behind the trunk area. And that car is leaking a little bit of oil, but it's not smoking, so that means it's an oil leak that's not getting on the hot exhaust. Right there you can see how it's turning kind of black right in the back. Davey Allison right now is going to be getting some of that oil on his windshield.
And he's having a tough time moving around Jim Sauter. Of course, Davy's tires are getting very hot and old as well.
Here you can see the crew standing by, ready for him to make a stop. They have the pit board out there, but Davey is not going to come in this time.
You can imagine he's tailing Robert Yates and the rest of the crew. You got to clean this windshield. It's getting oil all over it. Got to clean this windshield.
Davey is trying to work himself around the Jim Sauter car, but cannot do it. Sliding high on the racetrack, now going down the backstretch, and he is apparently getting off the accelerator as Kowicki passes by on the high side, and there you can see his crew with the pit board held high. Davey indeed is is slowing in turns number 3 and 4. Dr. Jerry Punch is in his pit area as Davey comes in for the stop. Jerry?
Well, the Rainier Racing Haviland Ford makes its way to pit road. Davey Allison, who started 15th, now being shown as a leader, but he will come in and take on the right side tires. Robert Yates, Tony Price, Tom Aaron, the crew going to work. They give Davey something cold to drink, and the car on the jack on the right side. Two right side tires. They will check the tire wear, roll the tires in place, clean the grill, give Davey a drink, add 2 cans of fuel, pull the jack out, and he's down and away. Great pits in 15.2 seconds.
So with Allison having pitted, the lead now goes to Bill Elliott, but the number 5 car of Jeff Bodine is right there.
He's running in second place, but you see Bobby Hillen about to pass him. Dale Jarrett is right there too. Now both of those cars have run Jeff down. They both changed 4 tires. Jeff Bodine only took on 2 tires, and you can see the difference in the speed. Jeff Bodine was running faster than both of those cars earlier in the race, but he only took on 2 tires, and boy, it must make a big difference.
Boy, that really makes the Elliott crew look smarter and smarter, doesn't it? You know, Davey Allison there with 2 tires, just over 15 seconds. Bill Elliott, 4 tires, 21 seconds. Just, you know, 5 seconds difference. You get 2 more tires, and your car runs so much better. That is a good move on the Elliott squad.
We can run down for you the top 11 at this time. Bill Elliott the leader, then Jeff Bodine, Dale Earnhardt, Brett Bodine, Sterling Marlin, Darrell Waltrip, Benny Parsons, 7th. In 8th position is the number 12 car driven by Mike Alexander. 9th is Lake Speed. 10th is Rusty Wallace. And 11th is Ricky Rudd. As we are looking out the back glass of the Hardee's Oldsmobile, looking at Jeff Bodine's 2nd place.
And Bill Elliott passed him. He came out, of course, behind Jeff and passed him and was just driven away from him. Of course, he was driving away from everybody before he made the pit stop, but even more so now that he took on those 4 tires.
Yeah, it's one of those decisions. You know, also what can happen when you change 2 tires under green, you can get a stagger problem. You can get on tires that really don't agree with each other. The stagger gets off and it changes the way the car handles. Bill Elliott here with the 4 tires, they pretty much could predict what the stagger was going to do. And it's a pretty safe move with 4 tires. It just, you know, it's one of the things that's changing about NASCAR racing. It won't be long, I don't think, before almost all pit stops will be 4 tires.
And Gary, making a 4-tire change, it takes a little longer, of course, but it doesn't take twice as long as it does to come in twice.
You're right. Oh, yeah. If you got to come in again, like let's say Jeff's left side tires are the culprit. The reason his car is running that far off the pace that it was running, if it is indeed the left side tires, then he has to make an early pit stop. That'll give Bill Elliott a lap lead on Jeff Bodine, and then a yellow comes out, everybody's a lap down. So these kind of things, you just can't predict what's going to happen. All you can do is do your best and hope it comes out in your favor.
Let's go to the pit area and the Bill Elliott pit.
Well, these guys have got to be feeling awfully good right now. They came in and changed 4 tires in 21 seconds. Other teams changed 2 cars in 15. Let's see if Ernie Elliott's feeling as good as I think he should be feeling. Come along, let's take a look. Let's take a walk over here and talk to Ernie. Ernie, you got to be feeling pretty good. You guys came in and took on 4 tires in 21 seconds, and everybody else took on 2 in 15. That's a pretty good move.
Yeah, you know, the way the tire wear is here.
Okay, we got a yellow flag here. We're going to show yellow flag, so Ernie and the Coors crew are going to get busy here as the yellow flag comes back out of Darlington.
Well, we're trying to find out why the yellow has come out. We don't see any accidents or spins or anything. Perhaps debris on the racetrack once again. We have several cars that apparently are going to make another round of pit stops here. Brett Bodine has come in, but far earlier than perhaps he wanted to.
I think Brett Bodine brushed the wall. Maybe some debris came from his car, causing the caution. He had to come in. You can see the side of the car caved in. They're pulling the fenders out. He had hit the wall, and maybe that was the reason for the caution.
Yeah, you can see the right rear area of the race car has been damaged somewhat, and there's a stripe all the way along the right side. So they're going to change 4 tires on the Brett Bodine car as we are under caution once again at Darlington. Now Brett beginning to move away slowly, but there he gets it going. So the Southern 500 on ESPN this Sunday afternoon. We'll continue our live coverage. The legend is continuing at Darlington, the track they call Too Tough to Tame, as we are here for the 39th annual Southern 500 on this Labor Day weekend. We hope everyone has a safe and happy holiday weekend, as tomorrow is the official Labor Day. And we are under caution here at Darlington because of an incident involving Brett Bodine as he kind of scraped the wall and the track crews came out to check. Bill Elliott came in for a pit stop, as did just about everybody else. And watch what happens here on the stop. Very close to running over that jack, and I don't know whether that created some problems or not. In any case, Bill Elliott is back in. Jerry Punch.
Well, Bill Elliott had to come back in just a minute ago. Let's get a comment from Dan Elliott here in the Elliott pits. Dan, you came in and changed 4 tires, but you just came back in again. What's wrong?
Left a little bit early. Didn't get all lug nuts on. I had to put one back on. Costly.
Well, a costly mistake, but at least they're going to be safe here and try to get him back in and get those lug nuts tight.
So now Bill Elliott has some catching up to do because he's going to rejoin the field quite a ways back of where he would have.
Well, we're just bragging about what a good crew they had. You know, that's the edge that they're on. They're just, everybody is so tuned to hit that last lug nut, drop the jack, away you go. The jack just barely comes out. He almost runs it over. All those things are so precise and so close that one little tiny slip and you got to come back in and tighten up the wheel. So that's what happened there.
It was a close battle out of the pits, but Jeff Bodine beat Dale Earnhardt, and so Jeff is going to be in the lead of the race when we go back to racing conditions. That's Dale Earnhardt in second position. Sterling Marlin third. In fourth is Darrell Waltrip in car number 17. And the green flag is waving, so we go back to racing on lap number 132. That's Mike Alexander in 5th spot as they come down to restart the race, and Rusty Wallace in 6th. Benny Parsons remains 7th. Blake Speed is 8th. Ricky Rudd is 9th, and the number 11 car of Terry Labonte has moved to 10th spot. Then comes Alan Kowicki in 11th, Kyle Petty in 12th position, and Bill Elliott in 13th. And there is Darrell Waltrip picking up that 3rd spot, making a move on Sterling Marlin.
I don't think Dale Earnhardt has led a lap yet, and I'm pretty sure that Rusty Wallace hasn't led a lap. You know, Bill Elliott's led almost every lap. So Dale Earnhardt sure would love to lead this lap. He almost beat Jeff out of the pits. He was trying as hard as he could, but Jeff beat him out of the pits. Now Earnhardt's really thinking about getting that 5 extra points, get it behind him so then he can relax and run the race.
Dale Earnhardt moving in now on the leader, Jeff Bodine. Bill Elliott continues to thread his way through traffic. We'll check on Bill's progress in just a moment here, but there he is behind Kyle Petty now and Alan Kowicki, so he really hasn't picked up any spots to this point. Now he may. He moves to the inside on the front stretch, and side by side with Kyle into turn 1, he has the 12th position.
But Kyle moves back on the inside, but Elliott pulls him as he starts off the turn.
It's something to a driver like Bill Elliott, knowing how strong his car is and to be behind all this traffic, knowing how risky it is in that heavy of traffic. He would like to get to the front, doesn't want to take any chances, but he is taking a chance just being in that group. So he needs to get to the front, but he needs to take his time and be careful.
But the car is working so well, Gary, that then that was between turns 3 and 4 that he made that move. And here's Dale Earnhardt making a move.
And Dale Earnhardt on the battle of the backstretch is side by side with Jeff Bodine, and into turn number 3, yes, Dale Earnhardt has gone into the lead. If he can have that lead when they cross the stripe, he will be credited with leading a lap and 5 bonus points. Here he comes off the 4th corner, and yes, indeed, he will lead lap number 137.
Yeah, a sigh of relief there from Dale Earnhardt. You can almost watch with this type of track here with the lines in the turns. You can look at the tires of the cars as they go through the turns, and you can tell if a car is loose or pushing based on how far the rear tire is away from the line compared to the front tire. If you can see the driver like Jeff Bodine there, his tire just about on the line and his right and his left rear tire way out. His car's running a little loose right now.
Bill Elliott is caught in some traffic. He moves to the inside of Dale Jarrett. Now that's Richard Petty in the number 43 car ahead of him. Bill trying to slowly work his way up through the traffic. He has passed Terry Labonte, so Bill right now is in 10th position. And Ricky Rudd is in 9th, so that's the next car that he will pass for position. Richard Petty is a lap down. Dale Jarrett and Kyle Petty are side by side.
I think Jarrett only took on 2 tires during the caution flag pit stop, and there again, that's beginning to tell on how the car handles.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be 4 tires every time the car comes on pit road, unless it gets late in the race and it's just a gas-only situation. I think most of the teams noticed what happened with the difference between Bill Elliott and Jeff Bodine, how Bill Elliott just took off with those 4 tires. Looks like Bill Elliott's taking a little extra time with Richard Petty, being very careful. There he goes down to the inside, waiting for a break before he does it. It looks like he's not really forcing the issue. He wants to get to the front, but he's not forcing his way to the front.
His car is just working so well. They can go wherever he wants to on the racetrack. And boy, if you can do that here at Darlington, it can make a whale of a difference.
Well, Ricky Rudd has passed Lake's speed, so Lake is now in 9th, and here is Elliott trying to get the 9th spot, and indeed he does at the end of the backstretch. So Bill has now moved to 9th position, and now his sights are set on Ricky Rudd, who is 8th. And there is Rudd in the green and white car, the Quaker State Buick.
And you can see he has a lot of traffic ahead of him before he would get to Jeff Bodine and Dale Earnhardt. Earnhardt, incidentally, has pulled away about 15 car lengths in front of Jeff Bodine.
And the interval between Bill Elliott and the leaders, who are in the middle of the turn between 3 and 4, there they are. That's how much of an interval there is between the leader, Dale Earnhardt, and Bill Elliott. Let's go to the pits.
Well, a few laps ago, we restarted the race, and Jeff Bodine was leading, and Dale Earnhardt was running second. I walked over to Richard Childers, the caller, and said, "Hey, Richard, you guys haven't led a lap yet." Richard said, "You know, you got a point there." So he got on his radio and said, "Hey, Dale, we haven't led a lap." Dale came back and said, "Got it handled. Next time by, Earnhardt was leading by 4 car lengths." He listened awfully well.
So it's just that easy, huh, for Dale Earnhardt to go into the lead? Is that what we're hearing here?
Well, I think he had the car to do it as well, too.
Here's Elliott now right on the back bumper of Ricky Rudd. They cross the line. Let's see if Bill can pick up the spot. Yes, indeed, he does. So now Elliott is in 8th position. And next on his list will be Mike Alexander, who is 7th, and there's quite a bit of racetrack between Alexander and Bill Elliott as Michael Waltrip makes another pit stop here on pit road.
And this would be an unscheduled pit stop. The hood's going up on the Country Time Lemonade car, so Michael, who was running a good race here today, but having some problems.
He's already showing a little tire mark there on just in front of his right rear tire. He's gotten together with somebody. There's a lot of cars that are showing a little bit of a stripe, tire marks. A lot of close racing going on here. The drivers are really trying hard. The season's winding down. They want to do real well.
Richard Petty has blown a right front tire, we understand, and has dropped to the apron of the racetrack. Will be coming in for a change of that tire.
And certainly that would be an unscheduled pit stop for Richard Petty.
That happened to Richard just after Elliott got around him and was just pulling away. I saw Richard have some kind of problem. It looked like the tire probably went flat a little slowly because he all of a sudden realized it let up and everybody kind of jammed up behind him, but they all made it around him.
Richard is one of those who is pitted on the backstretch here. There's first and second, Dale Earnhardt and Jeff Bodine.
Earnhardt moved out to about that much of a lead within 5 laps after he moved around Jeff Bodine, but since then he has not been able to move any farther away. And you can see Darrell Waltrip coming into the picture. He's running in 3rd place and keeping pace with the leaders. Waltrip driving the bright orange car number 17. That car is not too hard to detect on the racetrack.
Yeah, Darrell's moving up again. It looked like for a while he had fallen. He was starting to fall back, and Rusty Wallace and Darrell were racing for position. But now Darrell looks to be pulling away a little bit from Rusty Wallace and Neil Bonham.
Dale Earnhardt leads. He has won the last 3 of the past 5 races here at Darlington. There you can see the top 5. We'll be right back. We're back at Darlington International Raceway, where Dale Earnhardt continues to lead the Southern 500 with Jeff Bodine running in 2nd position. And we have a report of some light rain falling down in the turn 4 area. And we are still about 30-some laps away from the halfway point. So we're not quite there yet. It isn't raining hard by any means, but there are some dark clouds that are gathering overhead. And we can see now rain beginning to appear on the glass of our booth. Michael Waltrip has pulled behind the pit wall, and let's go to Dick Berggren for a report.
Well, Michael's sitting behind pit wall taking a drink of lemonade. Mike, what's the problem with your car?
Well, seems like the alternator quit alternating, and we don't have any power to the motor. You know, we started off pretty strong, but the switch to Hoosier tires kind of hurt us and got us behind. We're going to get Goodyears on this thing and fix our alternator and go race a little more.
That means you're not going to give any tires to all these different guys in all these different colored suits that are hanging around here?
No chance. It's like a group of vultures, isn't it? When you fall out, everybody comes wanting everything you got. But we would do the same thing. I'm just kidding, but we need them. We're going to go run some more.
This guy had a great run here yesterday, almost won this thing, came in very, very optimistic today, and he's not going to quit now just because of an alternator. He's going to go out with the fastest tires he can and still try to do as well as he can.
I think yesterday's enthusiasm of his finish in the Busch Grand National race has carried over. Michael did do a very, very fine job in that Grand National race here yesterday. The leader, Dale Earnhardt. And second place is Jeff Bodine. Then back in third is the 17 car driven by Darrell Waltrip.
Well, he has been passed by Rusty Wallace.
Right.
Rusty on the move now in car number 27. There's Darrell Waltrip, who now has dropped down to the fourth position. You can see Rusty Wallace about to pass Jeff Bodine up in front of him. So Rusty on the move here now.
There is the Waltrip crew. They're looking over their tire situation. I don't think that car is up to full song. Do you guys?
It looked like either Darrell saw the raindrops on his windshield and he decided, look, it's not halfway, why fight it? Let's wait. If it rains worse, the caution will come out. And you know, this brings out, when the raindrops start falling lightly, it brings out a lot of tough decisions for everybody, NASCAR included. Should we put out the caution? How bad is the rain? And it really looks like a sprinkle. Here's Rusty Wallace going around Jeff Bodine. You know, Rusty Wallace said, if it's raining, they might stop this thing. I'm going to get to the front. That's what it looks like to me. Some of the drivers said, well, it's not halfway. Let's hold up a little. Rusty Wallace said, I'm going to the front.
There goes Rusty into second position. The car sliding high on the racetrack, but he still has that second spot. So now it's Earnhardt, Rusty Wallace, and Jeff Bodine. 1, 2, 3. And there is Darrell Waltrip right behind there in car number 17. Light sprinkles falling, but it's certainly not enough to create any major problem as far as getting the track wet or anything like that, but it may be the first indication of things to come.
But generally what happens, and we've seen it here so many times at Darlington, a real light sprinkle like it's just kind of moving overhead, it doesn't really affect the racing surface. The surface is so hot it almost evaporates just when it hits. But NASCAR knows that if they put out the caution flag and then all the cars slow down and start running slower speeds, the track will cool just enough where that water will stand on the racetrack. So they've got a lot of experience in this type of situation, and they're definitely talking about it right now.
We're 31 laps away from the halfway point. The halfway is 184. And the lead held by Dale Earnhardt. This is his 10th Southern 500. He won the race, of course, last year. It was rain shortened, and look at Rusty Wallace in the number 27 car, who is closing in on Dale Earnhardt, as Rusty perhaps realizes that this thing could go only to the halfway point, and see, so he is out to try and catch Dale Earnhardt. We'll be back in just a moment. There's Flatnose, our good friend who lives here in the Darlington area.
Southern 500, and you're looking at the world's only tree climbing dog, Flatnose. Famous Flatnose has been here on ESPN, and I understand Flatnose has made a number of appearances on Johnny Carson's Tonight Show, and will be going to Japan very soon to climb some of those small Japanese trees, trying to get away from these big trees down here in South Carolina. And Flatnose having a good time today, Flatnose?
Hey, Flatnose. Think, folks. Hey, talk to him. You ain't gonna talk to him.
Well, he climbs trees. He doesn't talk a whole lot, but I understand he's gonna audition for Sports Center later on in the year. Gentlemen?
He's too busy watching the race there. He's got the sunglasses on. And by the way, the sun is shining here on the main straightaway now. It's a very changeable weather day. Now here is Dale Earnhardt continuing to lead the race, but it is Rusty Wallace who has moved into second spot. There's Earnhardt as number 161. Lap number 161 has been completed.
Before we went away to break, it looked like Rusty Wallace was closing in on Earnhardt, Bob, but now Earnhardt must have gotten the message that his friend and foe, definitely as individuals, but his foe as far as the championship is concerned, had started moving in. He said, well, I better check out here then, not let that boy get too close to me.
We'll check the interval here between first and second, and the Clock stops. Exactly 3 seconds separate Dale Earnhardt and Rusty Wallace first and second.
You know, Rusty Wallace still is thinking about leading that, getting that 5 points for leading the race. He's thinking about maybe holding out if Earnhardt could get in the pits for a green flag pit stop, get that 1 lap led before he makes his pit stop. A lot of strategy goes on when those top 3 in the points, Bill Elliott, Dale Earnhardt, and Rusty Wallace, are all battling for a real tight point race right now.
Indeed they are. We'll see if the interval has changed from lap to lap. Well, it's just about the same, maybe 1/10 of a second different. And look at this battle shaping up here as the number 5 car of Jeff Bodine is right ahead of the 17 car of Darrell Waltrip in a battle for third.
And Gary, a moment ago, we were talking about the raindrops that were falling, and just as quickly as they came, the sun has come out. That'll make the difference. A difference in how the cars handle, and it might make a bigger difference for some than others.
Oh, definitely. You know, the temperature has such an effect on the handling of the car. The hotter it gets, the looser a car tries to get. So if somebody is running a loose setup and the sun comes out and it heats up the track, then that car will get looser. If somebody's got a pushy setup, then the sun comes out, it'll help them. So you see the lead or the speeds of the different cars change from hot as the temperature goes hotter and cooler during the day.
Waltrip and Jeff Bodine fighting it out for third spot, but look who is back there in fifth. Now, Davey Allison, the black and white car, is a lap machine, but there is the 5th place car of Bill Elliott.
Bill Elliott has really moved up. You know, he had to start almost dead last after they came back in to retighten those wheels. Now he's moved all the way back up. He's challenging for third, really third and fourth right there.
Yellow flag is out on the racetrack. Let's watch him race to the caution. Darrell Waltrip moving inside of Bodine, but it appears as if he will let off the accelerator and stay in that position across the line.
Yeah, it would not be smart, really, at this point of the race to try to race him back. He wouldn't have that much to gain by racing back. If it was near the end of the race and he had a chance to pick up that position, then you would see him racing back.
Exactly. Everybody talks about racing back to the flag, how dangerous it is, and those guys are all using their heads these days. They are letting off the gas, even though they haven't got to the start-finish line.
So as we move into our 4th caution of the afternoon, coming out on lap number 167, we understand that Rick Mast had an encounter with the wall and maybe scraped against it.
And he's just going into turn 1 and just blew a tire as he went into the turn. He was down off of the racetrack, but he was trying to circle the track to catch up to the leader. There is the cars, the Buddy Baker Red Baron Pizza Oldsmobile. Rick Mast, second round fastest qualifier here. And now the leader's coming into the pits.
By the way, Mast was 15th when he had the problem, and now here is the leader into the pits, Dale Earnhardt, and Jerry Punch is there.
Well, Dale Earnhardt leads the contingent of cars down pit road. He and Jeff Bodine, of course, Rusty Wallace and Darrell Waltrip all in the pits. Earnhardt's crew, a 3-time World Championship pit crew, now goes to the left side of the car. They've already changed those right side tires. That's Kurt Shelmerdine. Earnhardt on the top of your screen. Rusty Wallace on the bottom. Wallace's crew now moving on the left side as well. Earnhardt's car down the way. Wallace's crew, Barry Dodson's crew. And it's a race down pit road. Earnhardt wins it by a car length as they head toward turn 1.
Let's see who goes out behind Earnhardt and Waltrip. Or rather, Wallace. It's going to be Elliott. Bodine. Look at Bodine trying to gain the advantage on the inside. And Darrell Waltrip also comes out of the pits, but a real scramble for position coming out.
Boy, that is a tough call for that man. That guy that holds that little stop and coast line, he's got to determine who got there first. So he's going to have a tough call. It looked like a couple photo finishes.
Try to sort everything out and get back into single file formation. But in any case, Dale Earnhardt won the battle out of the pits, but who finished second, third, and fourth, we don't know. We'll tell you after. And there was a real scramble coming out of the pits for the lead, and we'll watch the replay here. There you can see the NASCAR official with the stop sign as Dale Earnhardt pulls up to stop. Here comes Rusty Wallace also to stop, and Bill Elliott.
And at the same time, Jeff Bodine comes out of his pits, but those others were stopped. They would have beat Jeff Bodine out of the pits if they had not been stopped by the NASCAR official down there. And the reason he stopped them was that there was still traffic coming down the front straightaway on the racetrack, so he was stopping them until the traffic went by, because you have to fall in behind the rolling traffic out on the racetrack when you come out during caution period.
Well, this caution allows the fans to kind of sit down and relax and take a view away from the racetrack itself. But really, that scramble out of the pits there wasn't for the lead. There were some that pitted on the backstretch, including Benny Parsons, and he is now the leader of the Southern 500.
Look for Castrol's Car Care Cashback Offer, now available at your favorite retailer. Castrol's Cashback Offer.
When night falls, the stars begin to shine on Canada's greatest nighttime sport, harness racing. Join the thousands who know a sure thing when they see it. They know harness racing has it all. The color, the action, and the high-powered excitement is happening at Darlington Raceway. Watch the Trotters and Pacers race to the winner's circle from a climate-controlled dining lounge. Be a part of it all and cheer for the stars when they come out at Darlington Raceway. Catch the action.
The CFL on TSN. East goes west when the Ottawa Roughriders take on the BC Lions, live from BC Place. Tuesday, September 6th, starting at 11 Eastern. CFL blackouts are in effect, so check your local listings.
Track Facts are brought to you by the Robert Bosch Corporation, makers of the Bosch Platinum, the ultimate spark plug.
You're looking at the very first entry in the very first Southern 500, a 1950 Oldsmobile driven by Buck Baker. Now, this rounded, sort of blunt-nosed car was a far cry from the bullet-shaped machines today, and Buck Baker said it was a nightmare to drive. The car would shimmy and bounce and shiver all over the racetrack. Well, the mechanics were working on that problem as well as another problem, heat and ventilation for the engine. So they cut a large hole here in the firewall, this large opening here, to allow air to pass through and exhaust some of the fumes from the engine compartment. Suddenly, the car began to drive so much better. What they had discovered was aerodynamics. The first ground effects car, this opening allowing air to hold the car on the racetrack. Yes, ground effects almost 40 years ago.
Well, it certainly has changed a lot since then, Jared. These cars now have ground effects and handle much better, and of course run a lot faster too.
The green has come back out, and Benny Parsons leads the Southern 500 with Ricky Rudd running in second position. The car that is actually leading the others on the racetrack is Bobby Hillin Jr., who has at least gotten one lap back. Parsons, as we indicated, was one of those who pitted on the backstretch. Now, here's our pit stop summary. Dale Earnhardt was a leader when the yellow came out in fourth position. Wallace went from second to fifth. Bodine went from third to seventh. Waltrip fourth to 10th. So Darrell certainly came out on the short end of that deal. And Benny Parsons went into the pits in sixth position and has come out in the lead. However, we understand that Benny may not be feeling well in that race car, and in fact may be asking for some relief, but he's certainly doing well out there now as he passes Bobby Hillin Jr. There's Benny's serial. Started 27th, was up to 9th at the end of 50 laps, 6th at the end of 100. At the end of 150 laps, he was 5th and now is in the lead.
Hey, that car is driving very well, and Benny is doing a good job of driving. Good to see him up front. He's had a lot of tough luck this year. He went with Jimmy Donlevy, and they had high hopes. Donlevy's car ran good last year with Ken Schrader at the wheel, and they got some additional sponsorship this year from Bullseye Barbecue Sauce, even though it was just for 19 races, but they've been running all of the races. Had some good runs, but they've had a lot of tough luck. But now, out front here in the Southern 500, has to make he and Judy Donlevy, Doug Richards, the crew chief, all of them very proud.
Well, Benny's spirits are also very low at this point in his career, but he's showing us today that he still has the fire and the drive to be a winner.
Well, I've been through some of those slumps. You know, a lot of baseball players get in that type of thing, too, where you just can't seem to do anything right. And then just one little thing, lead a few laps, it can spark off the team for the rest of the season. I'm sure hoping that Benny really can pull off something before the season ends this year.
This is the battle for fourth position. Dale Earnhardt in number 3 and Rusty Wallace in number 27. Now in third position ahead of these guys, I believe, is Ricky Rudd. Kyle Petty was up there, but he's fallen back. So actually, this is the battle for third position. And there is Bill Elliott, who is also passing Kyle Petty.
That should be for the fifth position.
There is a $10,000 bonus for leading at the halfway mark, which is lap 184. The Halfway Challenge Award, sponsored by the Personal Care Division of the Gillette Company. $10,000 to the leader of lap number 184, and we are nearing that point right now. Let's go to the pit area and Jerry Punch.
Well, we're standing with Doug Reichert, and he's just telling his driver that if you can lead 8 more laps, that's 10 grand. He just told Benny Parsons. Now, speculation, Doug Reichert, was that Benny was not feeling well. You might be looking for a relief driver. Is that true?
Right. After that last caution, he came in after we gave the car some gas and some tires. He came to us, asked us for a cold rag, and he said he was feeling sick to his stomach. Right now, we're searching out, trying to find relief driver Morgan Shepherd to maybe put in the car.
Well, can you believe it? Super substitute Morgan Shepherd may be getting in his 7th car of the year, and he might be getting in for Benny Parsons. But Benny's going to try to hang on and lead through lap 184. That's only 7 more laps, and pick up that $10,000 for leading the halfway.
Great battle for second position, though, Jerry, on the racetrack. There goes Dale Earnhardt past Ricky Rudd, and here comes Rusty Wallace to move into 3rd spot, and Ricky Rudd goes back to 4th now. Can Dale Earnhardt close in on Benny Parsons and be the leader at the halfway point?
Well, certainly Benny had a better chance as long as Rudd was running in 2nd place, because he was able to maintain the distance between himself. In fact, he was pulling away from Ricky Rudd, but he has a pretty good lead over Dale Earnhardt and Rusty Wallace. If they get to racing with each other back there, that might be to Benny's advantage as well.
We saw a big puff of smoke a few laps ago coming from the number 8 car of Bobby Hillin Jr. We understand that he has a power steering problem with that car, and there is Bobby Hillin well off the pace to the inside of the track.
Yeah, that is unusual. The power steering hose must have broken. Shot the oil out onto the hot exhaust system, created that smoke. He's still on the racetrack, so he's probably driving with manual steering. It's really not, it's worse than manual steering. It's hard to turn the steering wheel because you have to push that remaining fluid through the steering gearbox. So Bobby Hillin can still drive the car, but it's a big effort for him. They're going to have to try and repair that.
Rusty Wallace trying to take over 2nd position from Dale Earnhardt. Got a little bit low there in turn number 1 and had to let off. Affectionately, Dale Earnhardt called Ironhead, and he has dubbed the guy right behind him, Rusty Wallace, Rubberhead, because of Rusty's tumble down the front stretch at Bristol last weekend.
I'll tell you, Benny's going to get that $10,000 if that Ford stays together for the next 4 laps, because he's still maintaining the distance that he has between Earnhardt and Wallace. And when Wallace pulled up beside of Earnhardt there a moment ago, that helped Benny Parsons to maintain that. Here's Bobby Hillin Jr. in the 5th. They're looking at that power steering problem.
Lap number 181 complete. 3 more to go to the halfway point. Look at this battle. The number 17 car of Darrell Waldrop, 44 Sterling Marlin, 83 of Lake Speed, the 11 car of Terry Labonte, and here is Rusty Wallace again, making a bid for 2nd position. Boy, these guys have been going at it, and they are the best of friends off the racetrack, but you can know that they are fighting for that spot. And look at Rusty go high on the track, and Earnhardt get him back.
And Earnhardt knew he was going to do that. He backed off, let Rusty go in there hard, went up high on the racetrack, drove right back under.
2 laps to go to the halfway point, and Benny is indeed keeping the interval between himself and Earnhardt and Wallace.
Well, that car of Benny's is awful impressive right here, guys. He's running awful strong.
Boy, it really is. I hope that perhaps being out in the lead and perhaps winning this $10,000 coming up in another lap is enough to take those stomach cramps or whatever Benny is suffering away from him, and he can stay out there and have a chance of winning a Southern 500. Here he comes off the 4th corner. This completes lap number 183. 1 more to go to the halfway point. Benny Parsons stands a chance of $10,000 here.
Well, that $10,000 I'm sure will make him feel a lot better. I can imagine Doug Richard, Benny's crew chief, is saying, how about if we give you some antacid, some Rolaids, something like that, anything. Can you stay in there, Benny?
He's got a half a lap to go. We're watching the battle for 2nd position still. Wallace to the inside and Dale Earnhardt to the outside. Rusty's got him. Let's see if the same thing happens this time. Exactly the same thing. Wallace's car high on the track, allowing Earnhardt to maintain that 2nd spot. Here is Benny Parsons crossing the line, the halfway mark, and Benny Parsons wins $10,000 from the Personal Care Division of the Gillette Company. That's great. Nice to see Benny doing so well here in this race.
Looks like Jerry Punch is over there with his car owner, Junior Donlevy.
What a fight we have going on here between Rusty Wallace and Dale Earnhardt. Lap after lap, they're just going at it.
They really are. Earnhardt now in second, but Rusty's car is best.
Yeah, it seems to be a little bit stronger between turns 1 and 2. That's where he's working so well, but Earnhardt seems to work better between turn 3 and 4. Now let's go to Jerry Punch in the pits.
Junie, you're all smiles. Your driver at 47 years of age just picked up 10 grand, and it's not even over yet.
Boy, we sure could use it. He's running real good. He feels a little bad. He says he's a little sick in the stomach, but he says feeling pretty good. Where might it happen?
Junie, you're the only active crew chief that was here 39 years ago in the very first Southern 500. A lot has happened in the last 40 years.
And it sure has. We had a lot of fun then, and we hope we're going to keep on having a lot of fun.
One of the most likable guys in the entire sport of stock car racing, 64-year-old Junie Dunlevy. He will be here forever, we all hope.
All right, that good battle for second is continuing on the racetrack. Rusty Wallace and Dale Earnhardt are fighting it out. Looks like they came close to rubbing there coming off the second turn.
Yeah, well, Wallace backed off that time. He didn't go into turn 3 like he'd been doing and passing Earnhardt, and then Earnhardt would come right back around him. He decided to try to do it a little bit differently.
Well, after the halfway point, we won't be back tomorrow. The sun is shining. We'll continue to watch this battle for second while we take this continues to lead the Southern 500, but Dale Earnhardt and Rusty Wallace have both caught him now. Benny Parsons won the Trans-South 500 in 1978, but he has never won the Southern 500. Well, let's check our Napa mid-race recap. At the halfway point, Benny was leading the race. He started 27th and led 16 of the 184 laps at an average speed of 129.078 miles an hour. We had 4 caution periods for 18 laps, 7 leaders and 7 lead changes. Watch the battle here for the lead. 3 abreast into the corner. And Earnhardt comes out with the lead. Wallace second and dropping Benny back to third. 40 cars started, 36 remain in the race. And we still have some great competition as Dale Earnhardt now has gone into the lead. Rusty Wallace second and Benny Parsons drops to third. Now we go back to complete our mid-race recap. 13 cars were on the lead lap at the halfway point. And those that had dropped out of the race, Harry Gant, Morgan Shepherd, Rick Wilson, Randy Baker, and Rick Mast. And as we indicated, Benny Parsons has developed a stomach problem, is not feeling well, and they are searching for a relief driver for him, but apparently they haven't been successful so far.
And Rusty Wallace, I don't think, has led a lap so far today, so he would like to do that. Both of his point components, Bill Elliott and Dale Earnhardt, have led, so Rusty would like to get back even with them as far as that 5 bonus points is concerned, and he's trying it hard here right now.
Let's see what happens going into the first turn. Wallace to the inside of Earnhardt. Oh, they both slide really high on the racetrack, still side by side all the way through the corner. Dale is going to have the advantage coming off the turn as they pass H.B. Bailey in car number 36.
You know, Rusty Wallace has told me many times that he gets into a race like this with Dale Earnhardt, and he'll look over, driving as hard as he can, he'll look over, and there's Earnhardt looking back at him with a big grin on his face. So this is the kind of competition these guys really thrive on. This is real racing. Racing for the lead, 2 competitors with equal matched cars just going at it like this, and you know they're driving cleanly and just putting on a heck of a show for all of us.
They are putting on a terrific show. Rusty now has a full car length advantage, or at least has the whole car ahead of Dale, but nope, the faster groove is to the outside.
Yes, it is. He just couldn't get traction coming off of the inside of turn number 2. It's slick down there, and he just simply could not accelerate fully off of that turn.
Let's go to Dick Berggren, who can update us on the tire situation just past the halfway point. Dick?
Well, Bob, a critical story has unfolded here this afternoon. Sticker tires, brand new tires, have proven to be the hot setup. If you've got new Goodyears, you're going to run faster than anybody else. And I've just taken an inventory to see who's got a bunch of them. Sterling Marlin has only 4. Jeff Bodine has 6. Elliott has 10. Darrell Waltrip has 10. There is 13 in a couple of the other pits. But let me tell you who's got them all. Earnhardt, 18 brand new tires here. These guys are set for the rest of the race. Richard Childress said, yeah, we got him on a Saturday night special. I bet he's even been giving away his used tires. Nothing here but brand new tires.
That's what you call strategy in the pits, although it's not what we normally think of as strategy in the pits.
Well, as crew chief, you get all different twists. Things you never thought would happen, you got to make decisions on. That Earnhardt team is very resourceful. They've been able to get out and scrounge around and dig up some tires, and that's really part of racing. You got to be ahead of everybody on all areas, not only just on the racetrack, but in the pits behind the scenes.
Now, behind Earnhardt and Wallace here, first and second, we see Benny Parsons, who is holding on to third place, but look who has come back to a fourth place standing at the moment. That, of course, is Bill Elliott, and it's been a long march back up toward the front for Bill, but now he is in striking distance.
And he has gained about 2 seconds in the last 10 laps on him, so he is definitely picking up. He's the fastest car on the racetrack right now.
Just a great battle for the lead in the Southern 500. Dale Earnhardt in number 3 and Rusty Wallace is in 27, and these guys are really going at it tooth and nail. Wallace once again looking to the inside at the end of the straightaway. Can he get the lead? Again, they go side by side and door handle to door handle into the first turn. Earnhardt goes high but comes out with the lead.
Evidently, when he puts his right side tires up there next to the wall, there's some good surface up there, some drier surface that he's able to run against. A lot of cars are running up there now, and that dry surface might not last too long, but it's working well for Earnhardt right now. He's able to get good traction as he comes off that turn. Now, you can see Wallace as he come around turns 3 and 4. He's really picking up on Earnhardt, but he just can't get around him.
Ned, as we watch this race on TV and from the stands, we hold our breath every time these guys get side by side, but I have heard that it's really fun for these guys to be out there racing like that.
Oh, it is fun. There's no question about it. That's what it's all about for them, is competition. They like to run side by side, and especially with someone that you trust. And certainly these two drivers trust each other. They wouldn't run that fast side by side with slick, worn, hot tires. There they bump just a little bit, but again, you know, they trust each other. Now, how much trust is Earnhardt going to have with Wallace going into turn 3?
Well, right up here is where Earnhardt seems to get a jump. Right there, Earnhardt seems to be able to pull Rusty Wallace just a little bit coming off the turn. Rusty can't get the traction down low like that to pull him. He's done a better job this lap than he's done in the past. Let's see if Rusty can pull it off.
Nope.
No, Dale just drove it down in there. You know, this is major league racing. These guys are the top of this division, and this is the top division of racing.
Well, we got to pay some bills here, but we will continue to isolate and keep our cameras rolling. If anything happens, we will show it to you. We'll take a break, though, as Earnhardt and Rusty Wallace battle.
TSN takes you trackside when North America's finest 2-year-old trotters go head-to-head in the Champlain Stakes, live from Mohawk Raceway. Then, as an added bonus, a top field of 3-year-old pacers will tough it out in the annual Simcoe Stakes. It makes a great double bill, with TSN's Michael Landsberg, Marty Adler, and Earl Lennox bringing you harness racing at its very best. The Champlain Stakes, the Simcoe Stakes, Sunday, September 4th, live at 9 p.m. Eastern on TSN.
You're the backbone of the country, cities, towns, and fields. You're the ones who work, the ones who build, strength that never yields. Says it. There's nothing halfway about it. That's always been your call. It says it all.
Look for Castrol's Car Care Cashback Offer, now available at your favorite retailer. Castrol's Cashback Offer.
She calls me Mr. Irresistible. Who can resist the smoothness of an Noxzema shave? It's creamy, so close, so clean. Noxzema. She can't resist her Mr. Irresistible.
Returning this fall to TSN, the NFL. From preseason contests to 8 Sunday night battles and the season finale Pro Bowl. And from coast to coast, you'll see it all live on TSN. From start to finish, pro football duels here on the Sunday night home of the NFL, TSN.
In the year 1961. Winston Cup replays are brought to you by Purolator, the first name in filters. For Pure Oil Now and Pure Oil Later, it's Purolator.
The World War II tank driver was in a Ford that can't last. But no one told Nelson Stacy and his crew, the oldest of which was 23. He won the Southern 500 in his first start there at age 39. He beat Marvin Panch, driving in relief of Fireball Roberts by 3 seconds. Rookies must run a yellow bumper. Stacy drove a yellow car.
Nelson Stacy, the winner of the 1961 Southern 500. We have completed 207 of 367 laps in the 1988 edition. Ricky Rudd is the leader. Silver Eagle record. As he pitted on the backstretch, Ricky Rudd had the lead for a moment, but then Rusty Wallace passed him. He is now the leader. Second place belongs to Bill Elliott. And third is Dale Earnhardt, and Ricky Rudd is having his problems.
Yes, that car's not working nearly as well as he was later. He keeps the car down on the inside of the racetrack. You can see him going very high. Other cars going down below him. There's Benny Parsons going the inside. The car number 25 is Kenny Schrader. So Rudd is definitely having a problem. But the set of tires, Gary, must not have been matched up or something.
Well, that's what usually is the case after cars run strong and they make a four-tire pit stop for 4 tires. They come out and they don't look as good. It's usually a stagger problem. Let's go down to Jerry with Rudd's pit.
Well, that's true what happened to Ricky Rudd. In fact, I believe we're starting to see the tire story come to bear just past the 200 lap mark here. Now, Ricky Rudd's Quaker State team is out of brand new tires. So what they had to put on were used tires that have a little bit of rubber, and that's all. And Rudd's just like driving on ice out here. He can't run the car hard, and he's backing up from the field.
Boy, it's just unbelievable how much of a difference a good set of tires makes. There's the number 29 car of Dale Jarrett, and we may have a problem on the right rear of that car, as he may be trailing some something from the, yes, he is. Oh, you can see it clearly now from the right rear of the car.
Yeah, you can imagine Jeff Bodine really wants to get ahead of him. You can see that water coming out of
Is that water, Gary?
Yeah, it would be out of the radiator overflow. It's behind the car, so it doesn't smoke, but you can bet the NASCAR spotters I've seen it. You can. The problem probably is the car's overheating. And we may be able to see it on the in-car camera. The water temperature gauge, I imagine, is up pretty high right now.
Well, he was in 16th position, a lap down to the field, but Dale was making a nice effort in this Southern 500, but now as beginning to show some water coming from the right rear of the race car. You can see it very plainly, laying down quite a bit of it as Alan Kowicki tries to take evasive action, and Darrell Waltrip.
Well, all of these drivers are calling to their crew chiefs right now and telling them that that car is losing water. Tell the officials, because it is a hazardous situation. So you know NASCAR is aware of it. They're going to watch it, and if it keeps up, I'm sure they're going to bring them in.
Well, of course, water isn't nearly as bad as oil. Water will make the track slick, but it'll evaporate very quickly, whereas oil would stay down there until some kind of compound is brought out to dry it up. Now, there's Rudd looking to the inside of Dale Jarrett in the first turn.
Well, that water, you know, is one of the vital fluids that is required to keep the motor running. As that water goes away, if the car is overheating, it just gets worse and worse. Sometimes they have what they call a surge tank on the cooling system. That is made to blow by any extra pressure. But this late in the race, unless they just refill the engine with water, it shouldn't be blowing out like that unless there is a serious problem.
There is Brett Bodine and Ricky Rudd running together right behind Dale Jarrett, and now the number 7 car of Alan Kowicki and the 17 of Darrell Waltrip.
Darrell's kind of run up and down today. You know, he looked real strong early, and then he kind of faded, and he looked strong again and faded. I kind of wonder if they're sorting through their tires to try and get the best set for the finish.
Our scoring has Darrell on the lead lap and Alan Kowicki a lap down. So this isn't a battle for position. Back to the leader, meanwhile. And Rusty Wallace continues to lead. Now, here's some sales going on. Apparently, an auction going on down there in the pit area, maybe?
It looks like they're over in Hope's pit area. That's the Purolator crew members. There's some of Ricky Rudd's crew. You know they want tires bad because they just put on a new set of tires on their car. I saw some of Rusty Wallace's crew over there also. It looks like they were trying to decide who gets what. Let's go to Jerry Punt.
Well, you wouldn't believe the auction going on down here. Derek Cope was climbing out of his car, and of course the vultures came in. Some of the tires went to the Quaker State crew who badly needed them. That's Ricky Rudd. You see the crew here. Some of them went down to Buddy Baker's team, the Red Baron Pizza team for Rick Bass. Some have gone up pit roads with a couple other crews. Some have gone to Jay Dunleavy. In fact, I think you have to give an effort, a call to Darrell Walton's crew. Two of his tied crew members ran all the way from the front straightaway back here and were able to go away with two brand new Goodyear tires. So quite an effort by Darrell Walton's crew to come back here and get two tires from Derek Cope.
Jerry, you could probably make some money renting out your golf cart down there for these crews that go from the back stretch to the front stretch. So Ricky Rudd in number 26 continues to struggle along here on some used tires as the lead is now continued to be held by Rusty Wallace, and he is in the lead for the first time this afternoon and so has picked up the bonus points. Dick Berggren is in Rusty's pit.
And as you might guess, the topic of conversation here is tires. Barry, I don't see too many new tires here. Have you got enough?
Well, we don't have enough if we put them on every time. Tire wear is getting better. We got some pretty good-looking scuffs we'll probably put on the next stop. I don't think anybody's got enough. Everybody will save one set. We know that. You know, they're no dummies if people were racing. I'd like to have about 3 more sets laying around.
How much would you pay for that 3 sets?
I'd say if you count the people here and take $1 a head, I'd pay that.
Raymond Beadle, a guy that owns his car, is really getting a workout today. He's running up and down pit road trying to buy tires, beg tires, borrow tires. I'm going to tell you what, guys, I wish I had a bunch of sets. I could retire on that money.
That's a lot of money, I'll tell you, because there are, what, probably 50,000, at least 50,000 people in the stands here. Ooh, boy, that's a lot to pay for a set of tires. Well, we're 223 laps into the Southern 500. 367 will make up this race. Rusty Wallace leads.
Ever try to watch all the CFL and NFL football available? Miss anything? Week after week, John Wells,
Dick Berggren and Jerry Punch back at the Southern 500 in Darlington. Rusty Wallace in the number 27 car is leader Bill Elliott.
As a result of that, in fact, he might be as much as 2 laps down.
We show those a lap down as Davey Allison, Ken Schrader, Jim Sauter, number 29 car of Dale Jarrett, and Phil Parsons. Those cars 1 lap down. Go back up front to Rusty Wallace and see that he is maintaining his lead.
And we've got Bill Elliott in second now. He's gone around Dale Earnhardt. So Bill Elliott, let's see if he can. That's him coming into the screen now with Dale Earnhardt right behind him.
And there is Kyle Petty, who is having a very fine performance in this car number 21, the Wood Brothers car. He is in 4th position.
He just was passed the last time around, Bob, so that drops him back to 5th. Sterling Marlin has moved around in the Piedmont Airlines car.
And there's still quite a bit of discussion about where Kyle will run next year, with whom. He announced earlier that he was leaving the Wood Brothers, but now apparently is having second thoughts and may stay with them for the 1989 season. He's continuing to fall back as now Jeff Bodine has also passed and Mike Alexander.
Kyle has really made a good run. He started way back, you know, in the pack, and he's doing real well. Right here, it looks like he may have the same kind of problem that Ricky Rudd has. Maybe they're saving some tires for the finish. It's hard to say during these stages of the race.
Mike Alexander has certainly also run a very good race to this point in the substitution role for Bobby Allison. And Mike has been, as a matter of fact, doing very well since he took over this ride for Bobby Allison.
Well, he's currently running in 5th place, Bob. He has run a very good, smart race here today, and that's typical of the way that Bobby Allison runs this racetrack. He always runs very smart, keeps himself out of trouble, stays there so that he can be in the lead lap at the end of the race and have a shot at winning.
You know, I think back on the good old days, the days that I worked with Bobby Allison, and we won here in the Southern 500 in 1983, and what a thrill it was. Bobby Allison really drove a very smart race, did everything right, and came out the winner. Now we see Mike Alexander in the Miller number 12 car in place of Bobby Allison, and he's driving a very smart race, and what a difference there is. You know, Mike is really in his rookie. He's not even a rookie as far as you think about somebody that goes out for a rookie season. Mike Alexander was called up from the sportsman division to come in relief for Bobby Allison. And what a job he's doing.
Mike Alexander began the race in 30th position, was 19th at the end of 50 laps, moved up to 6th, then 8th, and now is 5th. This is his 8th Winston Cup race of the year, having taken over for Bobby Allison. His best finish was a 5th on the road course at Watkins Glen.
Richard Petty's brushed the wall over on turn 2. He's very high, and he did get into the wall. That might bring out a caution. Richard Petty getting high, and it looks like he might have had a tire to go down. Yes, indeed, the right front tire is flat on the SDP Pontiac of Richard Petty, so he's had his problems here today. Apparently no caution.
He's on the inside of the racetrack on the back stretch, the car down by the pit wall, so we don't know whether or not this will necessitate a caution. But in any case, Richard Petty has had some contact with the second turn wall after apparently blowing a tire.
Well, evidently the caution is going to come out, or at least Earnhardt thinks it is, because Dale Earnhardt is in the pits.
He slides to a stop on the 235th lap, and the Richard Childress crew goes to work once again on the GM Goodwrench Chevrolet.
Well, Earnhardt's the only one of the leaders that is pitted on the front straightaway this lap. Let's watch. The pace car could catch him if the crew isn't exceptionally fast. This is a risk for Dale Earnhardt to come in. He's got everybody else stayed on the track. They're coming around now. It looks like he's going to make it in plenty of time. He's going to inherit the lead because of that move.
4 tire change, and Dale Earnhardt goes back out on the racetrack. Now here comes everybody else, we assume, in just a moment. And namely Rusty Wallace and Bill Elliott and the others who are pitted here on the front stretch. But Dale Earnhardt has already completed service on that car. Yeah, here comes Wallace. Also Bill Elliott, Mike Alexander, Jeff Bodine, Darrell Waltrip. There's the pace car just coming out of turn number 4 with its yellow lights flashing.
Earnhardt made a good move there. I think the next caution, we're going to see a lot of those crews come in early like that. Let's go to Dick Bergman in Bill Elliott's pit.
Well, Bill Elliott is going to take 4 tires, all right, or at least it looks that way. They're all going to be 4 used tires, however, on that car. Rusty Wallace is going to mix it up. He's going to take some new ones and some used ones. Nope, they've changed their minds. They're going to put used tires on Rusty Wallace's car. I'm going to tell you what, the decisions being made down here are very, very tough about what to do. Both these guys are out, and it's been all used tires all the way around, except Earnhardt. New ones there.
Yeah, we can assume that Dale, since he had so many of them, did take on 4 new tires, and so we'll watch Dale perhaps take off from these other guys who are running used tires on their cars. You can see the track crew on the racetrack at the bottom of turn number 2, cleaning up the debris that was caused by Richard Petty when he scraped the wall in the second corner. We'll be back with more of this Southern 500 in a moment.
At last, Ken Venturi, television's most talked about TV.
Ron, the legend is continuing at Darlington, the track Too Tough To Tame. We're live at Darlington International Raceway for the Southern 500. And we're 237 laps into this 367-lap affair. And the lead is being held by Dale Earnhardt, and we are under caution. The Mid-Ohio IndyCar race has been completed, and Emerson Fittipaldi has won that event, and he becomes the last Chevrolet driver to win. So now all Chevy cars and drivers have won on the IndyCar circuit this year. And by the way, you can see the race in its entirety tomorrow night at 9 o'clock here on ESPN. The Escort Radar Warning 200 IndyCar race from Mid-Ohio, won this afternoon by Emerson Fittipaldi. We're going to take another break since we are under caution. They continue to clean the track in turn number 2, so we'll be back in just a moment as we continue our live coverage. Green now with Dale Earnhardt leading and Rusty Wallace running in second position. You know, we have had 200 laps of racing yesterday, and we've run 241 so far today, and we have had very few accidents. The only crash we had yesterday was Patty Moise, and we've had a couple of cars that have scraped the wall here this afternoon, but no major accidents, and the attrition really has been very low as Rusty Wallace is trying to move himself around Dale Earnhardt. We'll take a look at that once again. This is what happened as they came off the 4th corner just a moment ago.
Rusty's car, the back end got loose as he came off of that turn. He hung it out a little bit coming off of there, but he got hung out a little too much. Got her crossways, but he held on to it.
Anyway, the attrition isn't nearly as bad as we thought it might be this afternoon.
Well, you know, this is Darlington. It's just a constantly changing track, like we talked about earlier. It used to be so it followed history so exactly that we could predict what was going to go on here. Now, all of a sudden, there's not the attrition we've seen. There's not the multi-car wrecks that we've seen here. It's been single-car incidents. There's been a couple cars falling out. These guys are really leading up to a tire problem. You can getting off the turn. We know he's got used tires on his car. You can imagine what he's telling his crew chief right now. What kind of tires are these? I can't even drive it. But you got to conserve. You got to save for the finish. All these drivers and crew chiefs have got to be thinking about getting the best that they can for the finish and hoping to hang in there for these parts of the race here.
Well, Dale Earnhardt certainly isn't pulling away from Rusty, as Dale has 4 brand new ones and Rusty on the used tires. Well, what about Darlington International Raceway? How do you run this track? Ned Jarrett asked Rusty early in the weekend just exactly what kind of a place is this.
Well, Darlington's just a place that you've got to really be looking ahead, Ned. You got to be really looking way ahead, because this place ends up having an awful lot of wrecks because people get brave. They get brave at the wrong times, and things just, like I say, those corners just won't take 2 cars getting in them. And then again, there's times where a guy will blow a motor going down in a groove, and with being only 1 groove wide, boy, it really gets hairy out there. So a guy's just got to look ahead and race this track and not the competitors. If he can do that and concentrate, this is a real thinking race. If he can do that, then he's really going to come home a winner.
Well, you got to think that Rusty is really racing the racetrack right now. His crew chief has told him, look, hang in there. These tires aren't near as good as we've got hold up here for later in the race. Just race the racetrack, stay out of trouble, keep a distance between yourself and the other cars, and hang in there. Keep the leader in sight. If Elliott gets by you, don't worry about it. Just stay calm and keep everything under control until the late stages when we can put the good tires on.
There you can see Bill Elliott is indeed closing in on Rusty for 2nd position, as Earnhardt, the leader, now begins to stretch it out just a little bit. There's the interval between 1st and 2nd, and the battle for 2nd.
Well, you know, the surveys that the guys in the pits have been taking have shown that Dale Earnhardt has plenty of tires. He doesn't really have that kind of thing to worry about at this moment. We're not sure about Bill Elliott, but Dale Earnhardt does seem to be pretty well set to the end of the race with the tires he has.
If he can put on new tires every time he comes in, that really makes a big difference, because we've already documented well here this afternoon that new tires do run quite a bit faster than tires that are used.
Back in 5th position, make that 4th spot, is the number 12 car of Mike Alexander. Right behind him is Sterling Marlin, and there is Jeff Bodine also. So these cars here fighting for that position. The red car of Ken Schrader's is a lap down, but then Darrell Walter in the bright orange car is on the lead lap. This is 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th right here.
Yeah, there's Jeff Bodine, Ken Schrader, and Darrell Walter, all 3 of them running right together. I think the 27 and 9 car still look like they're pretty strong pulling. Yeah, Elliott has pulled right up to the 27 cars back off.
While we watch this battle for 2nd, we'll tell you that Dale Jarrett has fallen out of the race with a motor problem. And we might also remind you that although we are 249 laps into this race, we'll have to have at least 1 more pit stop. So this race is far from over. And look at the side-by-side combination here of Sterling Marlin at number 44, Mike Alexander at number 12, with Jeff Bodine at number 5 watching from behind. Let's see what Marlin can do. He takes over the spot, and Jeff Bodine is trying to move around Mike Alexander.
That's a tough place to do it, coming off of turn 4. If you get completely up beside of the car you're trying to pass as you head off of that turn, okay, but Jeff wasn't quite far enough to make the move.
Yeah, a lot of decisions to make. You know, this race is 367 laps long, and we're at lap 250 right now. Do you race the track all day? Do you try and, if you run too slow, you'll get a lap down. If somebody like Dale Earnhardt takes off and then if you can't make up your lap later, you're in big trouble. So there's a lot of decisions these drivers have to make. How to run the race, how fast can you run, what tires to put on the car. There's a lot of variables taking place right now.
Wallace and Elliott, 2nd and 3rd.
Wallace's car sticking pretty well down on the inside there, which is a little bit of a surprise. Or maybe he's just going to move over and let Bill Elliott pass him on the outside.
Elliott moves high on the track at the end of the backstretch. Bill Elliott moves into that 2nd position, and Rusty drops back to 3rd.
I think Rusty just let Bill Elliott go there. He realized that he was not running quite as fast on those used tires as Elliott is, so he said, go after Earnhardt up there.
Yeah, you know what he was saying in that interview that we had on just a few minutes ago. Rusty Wallace is driving the way he was talking, looking ahead, not taking too many chances, just racing the racetrack and really taking it easy. You saw his car when this just after that caution like when we started racing, his car got really sideways coming off the turn. He knew right then, and I'm sure his crew chief told him, these aren't the best tires we have. Just take it easy, and that's what he's doing, leaving plenty of space, not getting too close to the wall, not getting sideways like we saw him. He's just driving a very smart race at this point, I'd say.
Dale Jarrett carried one of our in-car cameras in the first half of this race. However, he has fallen out of competition. Dick Berggren is with him.
Yeah, you did a great job as one of our cameramen. I want to thank you for all year long. You're taking a nice, cool, soft drink to cool you off. But there's not much you can do for one of these engines when it overheats, is there?
No, there sure isn't. You know, it's unfortunate this Hardy's Oldsmobile was running good today. We got a lap down early, but you know, there's always a possibility at Darlington of getting that lap back. We were just kind of biding our time. Things were going pretty good, but we had started overheating about 30 laps ago, and we were trying to keep a close eye on it, but it just got to be too much for the engine.
And they tried to get it fired here from the pits, and they were unable to. I should update you on the tire story. Rusty Wallace has had a break. They picked up 4 brand new tires from Eddie Bierschwale. He now leads in the inventory department. Rusty has 11 new tires in his pit. Elliott has 10, and Dale Earnhardt has 10 in his pit among the leaders.
Well, some drama being played out not only on the racetrack but in the pit area as the fight for positions on the racetrack and the fight for tires in the pit area. Dale Earnhardt leads the Southern 500. Second is Bill Elliott, and third is Rusty Wallace. Sterling Marlin running in fourth. Mike Alexander is fifth as we've completed 255 laps. Darlington for the 7th time this afternoon, and a rash of pit stops are being made here. Rusty Wallace, as you can see, comes out. Bill Elliott leads him out of the pits. Dale Earnhardt's already stopped and is back out in competition, so they're going to go back onto the racetrack the same way that they came in. The reason we are under caution is because of an incident up in turn number 4, coming off of turn number 4, and Ken Bouchard.
He's the leading rookie contender this year on the NASCAR Winston Cup circuit. The car just went around. It looked like he had a flat tire on the car. We'll take a look at it from a different angle. As he comes off of turn 4, the back end just goes around, and I think that right rear tire might have gone flat, and he spins it around down to the inside of the track. A lot of smoke there, which blinded the cars coming off of turn 4, and as he came around in to try to get into his pits on the backstretch, well, he spins it out again. Of course, there's a lot of dirt down on the inside of the track, because that's the flat portion of the track there. It doesn't go all the way around, so Kenny Bouchard, I should say, not Schrader, is having trouble getting to his pits.
I think through all that spinning, he didn't hit anything, so when they change tires on that car, he'll probably be able to get back into competition. So caution out once again at Darlington, as we will take another break and be right back with more of the Southern 500. Tuned in the Southern 500. We're under caution with 258 laps completed. And again, we mentioned how safe the racing has been here this weekend. Ken Bouchard spinning off of corner number 4, but again, it's a one-car incident, and there have been no major accidents through the entire weekend here so far. Let's hope that record continues.
Well, Darrell Waltrip has come out in the lead. Now, I believe this is the first time today that Darrell has led, so good pit work got him out first. Dale Earnhardt did not change tires. This is the first time that we have seen one of the top cars come in today and not change tires. They did fill it up with gas, checked all the tires, and cleaned the windshield and did all the other service that they normally do on a caution flag pit stop. Left the tires on.
What is this, a computer in the pit area? They actually use those numbers?
Well, NASCAR won't allow them in the cars, but more and more are showing up in the pits. That's a Nova computer there, and it's specially programmed to do tire staggers, tire sorting, scoring. You know, every time the car goes by, that guy punches a key for his own car. He can score several cars at a time, as many as he feels like it. That's quite an operation, the way that these computers are getting these days. The information is coming out so fast nowadays, it's just more than a regular crew can handle without a computer.
Can you determine from information coming from this computer, for instance, when the next caution might occur from input to it?
Well, we used to do it, you know, just based on the history of what's happened in the past. We used to be able to hit it quite predictably, surprisingly, because, you know, a caution is really a random occurrence. But we were able to go by history and go back and figure out things. But lately, here at Darlington especially, it hasn't followed the rules at all.
All right, the green comes back out, and the Southern 500 resumes on lap number 260. And Darrell Waltrip has the lead. Dale Earnhardt running second. Jeff Bodine is in third, followed by Bill Elliott and Rusty Wallace. Let's see what happens down the backstretch. As there's Davey Allison and Ken Schrader, but those guys are both a lap down to the field. The battle up front is between Dale Earnhardt in second and Darrell Waltrip, and there's Jeff Bodine also right there. A couple of Hendricks cars here.
Bill Elliott smoking on the left rear. Somebody may have bumped him. I'm not sure. Let's watch the left rear tire on Bill Elliott's car.
They will watch that car. There it is, going into the first turn. Indeed, there is some smoke coming from it. A lot of smoke, as a matter of fact, on the left rear of that race car. And there is Jeff Bodine, who has moved alongside Darrell Waltrip, but Dale Earnhardt has passed both of them and is now in the lead.
When that car like that smokes only in the turns, it's usually a tire rubbing when the car is going through the body roll. He may have brushed the wall, or somebody may have hit him, causing that.
But boy, if it rubs that much, it won't take long, Gary, to little wear through a tire.
Let's see if we can see exactly what happened with Bill Elliott. Well, it's already occurred at this point, but boy, there is just a lot of smoke pouring off that left rear tire.
Well, there's two things that can cause that. One is if Bill Elliott hit the wall with the right side of the car, it can bend the panhard bracket, pushing the rear end housing over to the left side, causing the left rear tire to rub, even though the right side hit the wall. The second thing that it could be is a car on the inside of him could have hit the fender, bending the fender into the tire and causing it to rub in the turn. Either way, it's pretty dangerous. You know, it doesn't get better usually. Those kind of things need to be checked out.
Battle for the lead. Jeff Bodine pulls alongside Dale Earnhardt on the backstretch, and Jeff Bodine apparently is going to go into the lead. Yes, indeed. So Jeff Bodine is the new leader of this race.
And Dale Earnhardt opting just to get gas on that pit stop, and Jeff Bodine got some tires. Here comes Darrell Waltrip also challenging Dale Earnhardt. Darrell's showing more strength than we've seen so far today.
Admittedly, this hasn't been one of the more exciting races in the middle stages, but I predict that we're going to see a tremendous race because, as we've indicated throughout the event, everybody has just been taking it easy and trying to assess the situation. But now we're seeing guys like Jeff Bodine, like Dale Earnhardt, like Darrell Waltrip, who are right there in the thick of things. I think we could see a 7-8 car battle at the finish.
Well, 12 cars on the lead lap with 100 laps to go here at Darlington. That's just not by the, it just doesn't happen. You know, there's always down to 4 or 5 at the 100 laps to go, 2 or 3, maybe 1 in the lead lap at the finish. Here we have 12 in the lead lap. We saw a shot of Rusty Wallace there with a yellow wheel on the left front. He apparently borrowed it from Michael Waltrip's team, and a black wheel on the back. No telling where that came from. But these guys are mixing up their tires, trying to get their stagger right, just trying to get through this stage of the race to be prepared for the finish.
Talking about the cars in the lead lap, Gary, it is unusual to see that many here at Darlington in particular. That's the way Winston Cup racing has gotten today, but I remember when I won the race back in 1965, when there were about 100 laps to go, there were only 3 cars in the lead lap, and then with about 50 laps to go, I was the only car in the lead lap and finally won the race by 14 laps.
Boy,
that's something.
What did you do in the late stages? It's kind of there you go. Look at Rusty. He is looking real strong. He blew by Earnhardt, and now he passes rather easily Jeff Bodine. So Rusty Wallace now goes to the lead.
Well, those fresh tires that he put on is really paying off for him right now.
Boy, tires mean everything today. It is amazing what a difference a car will make with a perfect set of tires, or a set of tires with a bad stagger, or a set of tires that's been just run a lot. What a difference.
Earnhardt now racing alongside of Jeff Bodine for second position. Earnhardt to the inside, but Jeff has second. As Earnhardt's car slides high on the racetrack, maintaining that third spot. In fourth is the yellow and orange car of Darrell Waltrip.
Well, Rusty, the car of Sterling Marlin, car number 44, has slipped in there now, so he's running very strong. And he's run strong all day. He had one period in there when he had a bad set of tires and he dropped back, and now he's right back in the thick of it.
Well, Bill Elliott dropped back several positions. His car doesn't seem to smoke as bad as if he runs a little easier. I wonder if he's going to stay out there and hope for a caution to check out that problem.
Well, he knows that if he makes a pit stop, he's more than likely going to go a lap down, and he doesn't want to do that because the speeds these guys are running up front, he knows that it'll be tough to get that lap back. So I'm sure that he's staying out there hoping to get a caution and hoping that it'll not be him that causes it.
Right, he's running easier. He's right in the back behind. There's a gap behind this pack here, and then he's right in the next car coming out onto the screen. He seems like he doesn't smoke near as bad if he takes it a little easier through the turns.
Look at this. Look at this. Sterling Marlin moves to second. Battle for third between Earnhardt and Bodine, and Darrell Waltrip is right behind this group. Now Waltrip will make it a 3-wide race at the stripe. Here they go into turn number 1. Darrell's going to back off.
Yeah, he's too smart for that. He knows you can't go through there 3 abreast, so he said, I better just back off this race. There's too many laps left here to take chances like that.
You're really not supposed to go through there 2 abreast, but we sure did see it right there, didn't we? About 3 or 4 rows of 2.
Remember, the 25 car there of Ken Schrader is a lap down. He is not on the lead lap.
Now, they've got that car straightened out. At the first of the race, the first 150 laps or so, he was having a tough time in the turns. But since then, they've got it squared away, got the stagger right on the tires, got the weight adjustment right, and he's been running with the leaders ever since.
Yeah, that's the true strength, I think, of that 25 car. Earlier, it looked like it was pushing, having a whole handful of problems trying to get through the turns. Now it looks like a very competitive car. Maybe if he can get his lap back later in the race, he'll be a contender for the win.
So while the lead is held by Rusty Wallace, we have a great scramble for positions back of him with Sterling Marlin now in second, third place belonging to Dale Earnhardt, fourth is Jeff Bodine, and there is the leader, Rusty Wallace. 272 laps are completed. Back in a moment.
It's Dolly Parton.
Was in victory lane at the Southern 500. Buck Baker, 1960, was the last to win in a Pontiac. Rusty Wallace is leading now in 1.
But he's being caught by Sterling Marlin, who's running an Oldsmobile. And I remember that race back in 1960. It was a car that was owned by Jack Smith. Jack had some problems. He went over the first turn wall down here, and he decided he didn't want to run here anymore. And he put Baker in the car, and Buck Baker responded by winning the race for him. And in fact, he did it on 3 wheels. He had a flat tire the last lap or 2, but came on to win.
You can almost see Rusty Wallace there. He looks a little loose now. It looks like his car is sliding back like it had earlier in the race we saw him. And especially coming on right there, he's sliding a little bit. You can tell his rear tire's out more than his front tire, so the car is hung out a little bit. It's a little loose right there, and that's allowing Sterling Marlin to gain on him. I think they're going to be looking for some chassis adjustments or maybe some, hopefully if they can sort through their tires, find a set of tires that would do a little bit better for him later on.
So they'll be wanting to tighten that car up, and I guess those are the 2 ways you can do it.
Well, it's tough, you know, when you don't have a big selection of tires. That's kind of what the problem is. All the teams would like to have a lot of tires to sort through to find the best set of stagger. When you only have a couple sets of tires, it's hard to sort it out and find out what tires are going to be the best for you when you're just lucky to have tires. So it's quite a job for those crews to sort out the tires. Obviously, they've got a yellow wheel off of probably Michael Waltrip's team on the left front, and they're mixing it up with some of their own tires.
It looks as if Dale Earnhardt, we see smoke coming from that car occasionally too on the right rear of the machine, so maybe that's an indication that Dale also is having some tire problems. Bill Elliott continues to fall back. He's back in 6th position now, and look at this as Sterling Marlin is right there on the back bumper of Rusty Wallace and may make a bid for the lead here. And Sterling Marlin has not led a lap today.
Showing a lot of strength with that Piedmont Oldsmobile. Just pulling up, he went right around Jeff Bodine, Dale Earnhardt, and caught Rusty Wallace in no time at all. Sterling Marlin really is showing some muscle right here.
Yeah, he might have been able to make a pass right there had he not run up on the car that Rick Mast is driving. So he just had to back off for a moment and try to get him another run at it.
Marlin has led in 7 of the first 10 races this year, has led only once. That was the Firecracker 400. Now, another thing about this drive that Sterling Marlin is on this afternoon, he's got to be thinking about his sponsorship for 1989. While U.S. Air has indicated they will not be back with the sponsorship, they now own Piedmont. On the other hand, they think maybe a good performance here will save that. So that's one reason why he's looking so good. Jerry?
It's very interesting. You know, U.S. Air bought Piedmont at the beginning of the year. 3 weeks
ago, US Air announced that Piedmont would not be back with his team after 7 successful years, including a Winston Cup title. But it's very interesting what happened. It's been a groundswell of support from the Piedmont employees as well as the US Air employees. The pilots, the flight attendants, ticket agents, ground crew, everybody wants to stay involved in stock car racing. And we are told that never let it be said that management doesn't listen to the masses. We understand the powers that be at USA are reconsidering their decision. They just might stay in auto racing with Piedmont Airlines. But if they don't, if you were watching in the garage area this morning, there's another airline here in the garage looking very closely, and they're telling us that if Piedmont gets out, they're going to come in big time. So we don't know what's going to happen, but we know one thing: the Piedmont Airlines car is leading right now here at Darlington.
Well, that has to be impressive to the officials of US Air that are looking in this afternoon. He's getting a lot of exposure here. Sterling Marlin is a good race driver. Let's take a look at the pass that he made on Rusty Wallace. He moves right up on him, set him up, moved to the inside, and just zipped right on around him with ease.
So Sterling Marlin now is the leader of the Southern 500, and Rusty Wallace drops back to a second position. Well, as we indicated earlier, the Mid-Ohio IndyCar race has been concluded, and let's go for a wrap-up on that event to Jack Arute. Jack?
Well, Bob, we've had one whale of a race here in Mid-Ohio in the Escort Radar Warning Detector 200. It is over. Emerson Fittipaldi has scored his first victory of 1988. He passed Mario Andretti to take the lead. Andretti drops back and finishes in second. Third went to Rick Mears with a steady run all afternoon. Al Unser Jr. finished in fourth after going a lap down early, as did Danny Sullivan, but Sullivan battled back to finish in fifth. Now, standing by with your race winner is Larry Newber. Larry?
Oh, Jack, a sweet victory it was. We're watching all the stock car stars from the South, and Emerson Fittipaldi passed one of the best IndyCar stars, I guess, in history to win this race in Mario Andretti, didn't you?
Yeah, no, Larry was a great race, and my Marlboro car was behaving out on the wet, on the dry, and the toughest part was to pass Mario. Mario is a great champion. He knows how to drive. He knows how to hold me behind, and I think was one of the best dice I ever had in my racing career.
That's a good point to remind all of our viewers in the South. This race was interrupted several times by rain showers. You guys went back and forth from the Gatorback wet tires to the smooth slicks. Was there any part of the race that was difficult for you?
I think, Larry, the most difficult part was when the last time that the race come back, and I decided to go for the wet tires. I stopped, I pitted, I put the wets, I went out, and the rain started slowing down and stopping. And I told on the radio my crew, I think I did a big mistake. And luckily, one lap later, the rain started coming back again. That was a big release.
The rain tires back and forth, and then there was that final pass on Mario. Something like that, when you have two champions, great champions from the history of the sport going after each other, do you calculate, do you plan ahead, or do you just follow them and wait for that little opening?
I have been trying Mario on the inside line a few times, and he closed the door, he went to the inside line. And that lap, I looked like I was going to try on the inside. He moved to the inside, and then I tried on the outside. And was just a good grip outside, and I know Mario, and I had the confidence on him, and I knew that if I would be side by side, next corner I would be ahead of him. That's what happened, and you know, it was a great dice of a great champion. I'm happy.
Well, we were fortunate to get Emo. There must be 20 people wrestling him away to take him to a series of victory celebrations, Jack. So we'll turn loose Emo and turn loose you. Back to you, Jack.
Well, Emerson Fittipaldi goes to a victory lane celebration. The same Johnny Rutherford cannot be said for Bobby Rahal. He was running quite well, in fact, in second position, and then he crashed, lapping some traffic.
Yes, that's a shame, and that's racing. Things like that happen. Of course, it was an intense race all day with the wet, dry, wet, dry. And then we saw the classic textbook pass of Emerson Fittipaldi on Mario Andretti to regain the lead. So we saw some good racing, and it was Bobby Rahal's misfortune to lose out in the points battle, which is heating up, I can assure you. So it was a good day in all for everyone.
Well, let's take a look one more time at the top five. As we said, Fittipaldi over Mario Andretti. Rick Mears in third position, fourth to Al Unser Jr. And in fifth, finishing position was Danny Sullivan, who now leads the point standings going into the Briggs & Stratton 200 in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. We're going to take you now back to Darlington, South Carolina, where we're going to see the finish of the Southern 500. Bob Jenkins, take it away.
Thank you very much, Jack. Congratulations to Immo. Here are our top 5 in the Southern 500. Sterling Marlin now has the lead at the end of 287 laps. Wallace is second, followed by Earnhardt and Darrell Waltrip. We'll be right back. Well, we're nearing the 300 lap mark, and the lead is held by Sterling Marlin in car 44. Here's a battle for position, though, as Bill Elliott is really making a comeback here. He's passed Darrell Waltrip and now goes to 4th, so that tire rubbing situation isn't nearly as bad now as it was.
Boy, it's hard to imagine that got better. It apparently was the shoulder of the tire, and it just wore away enough rubber where it quit rubbing, because Bill Elliott dropped back and smoked for a while, then he took off again. Now it looks like Darrell Waltrip is almost fading back. 3 cars have passed Darrell in the last 2 laps.
Another car that's fading is Lake Speed, the purple car down inside there that Waltrip just went around. He really slowed down coming off of turn 2 a moment ago. Benny Parsons is about to go into the pits. He went a lap down there just a moment ago, as we see Ricky Rudd and Mike Alexander battling for position here.
Indeed, Mike Alexander has given this Miller Buick an excellent run here this afternoon. Ricky Rudd also on the lead lap.
Yeah, that is something. Here comes Ricky Rudd. He must have some better tires. He's coming back up through the pack, recovering from where he slipped back with the older tires, and some of the other cars are slipping back into the pack, probably with more worn tires. It's a shuffle back and forth. It's really, they're just kind of waiting for the finish right here, I think, trying to stay on the lead lap, but have your best stuff for the finish.
This is the 5th place car of Ricky Rudd and Mike Alexander in car number 12. Lead held by Sterling Marlin. Rusty Wallace second, and then Dale Earnhardt is third. Bill Elliott fourth. Then Rudd and Alexander and Darrell Waltrip.
Yeah, Darrell Waltrip continues to slide back. You can see the gap now between Mike Alexander and Darrell Waltrip's car. Darrell seems to have a problem, and Bill Elliott's just pulling away now. It's hard to imagine that tire rubbing thing got better without him ever stopping. Here goes Mike Alexander now around Ricky Rudd.
And he moves to 5th place. Rudd back to 6th. So Mike Alexander is certainly in a contending situation here.
He's run a very, very smart race here today. Talking about Waltrip, he and Phil Parsons are 2 drivers who had a shot at a $100,000 bonus here today as a result of them having won one of 4 designated events by the R.J. Reynolds Tobacco Company. If they could win 3 of the 4, they could win $1 million like Bill Elliott did back in 1985, or if they win 2 of them, then of course they can win $100,000.
Here's the progress of Ricky Rudd. He started way back in 29th, moved to 22nd, 12th. At the end of 200 laps, he was 5th, and on 297 in 6th position. The leaders are Sterling Marlin and Rusty Wallace.
After Sterling moved around Rusty, he gained about 8 or 10 car lengths on him for a few laps. Then Rusty picked it back up and has been able to run right with him. Back end broke loose a little bit that time on the Piedmont Airlines Oldsmobile, and it gave him the move.
Yep.
All he needed, just a little bit of a slip.
Sterling really getting loose there. Boy, he was marginal on spinning out. He really got his hands full, keeping that car under control, especially coming off that second turn. We really saw it that last lap.
The best finish for Sterling Marlin in a Southern 500 was 4th last year. This is his 6th Southern 500 that he has competed in. Of course, he's never won a Winston Cup event. As we go back and take a look once again at how Rusty Wallace got the lead from Sterling.
Well, as he came off in turn 2, the back end of the Piedmont Airlines Oldsmobile broke loose, and that's all that Rusty Wallace needed, the opening that he needed, and he jumped right up on the inside and made the pass.
Let's go to Jerry Punch, who is in Marlin's pit area.
Well, Sterling Marlin is driving his heart out. He wants to win this one for his mama at the hospital up in Columbia, Tennessee. But I think the odds may be against him. Now, he is on used tires. They have no more new tires. In fact, they just were able to get 2 new left side tires. But everything they've got in the pits is right side is used. And we are under caution once again.
Spin, Jerry. Yeah, H.B. Bailey has spun off of corner number 4. I don't think he hit anything, just spun to the inside.
Yeah, it didn't look like he hit anything there. You can see him. He has the car riding now and headed down the front part of the straightaway. The leaders, of course, will race back and start. No, they're making pit stops.
Yeah.
To come down pit road.
They're following what Earnhardt had done earlier, coming in before they actually take the yellow flag on the racetrack. They saw that Earnhardt made it, so now these 3 leaders are doing it. Let's go to Dick Bergman in the Kodiak pits.
Well,
Gary, now is the time to pull out all the stops. And Rusty Wallace is putting 4 fresh tires on his car, as is Bill Elliott. When Rusty Wallace puts 4 fresh tires on his car, however, 3 of them will have come from Michael Waltrip's car. 1 will have come from Dale Jarrett's car. Elliott, on the other hand, is using all his own tires. Everywhere up and down pit road, they're trying the best things. Jerry, what's going on in Marlin's pit? What's he doing?
Well, he put 4 tires on too, Dick, but unfortunately, as he pulls out behind the Rusty Wallace car, only 2 of them were new tires. The right side tires that Sterling Marlin put on the Piedmont Oldsmobile were again used tires. They have not been able to barter and scavenge up any new tires yet, so Sterling may be handicapped somewhat now these last 67 laps.
There they go out of the pits. Rusty Wallace, then Sterling Marlin, then Earnhardt, then Elliott, and then Mike Alexander. So H.B. Bailey spin off of corner number 4, creating our 8th caution flag of the afternoon. But now with only 65 laps to go, we may be set up for the end of the race, and it's anybody's race at this point. Rejoin us.
Parsons, before this caution came out, was one of the fastest cars on the racetrack. He was running down the leaders, so he's in position to get that $100,000 bonus now.
So a couple of more contenders are in a position to win this race, as we are now past the 300 lap mark. 303, as a matter of fact, completed in the Southern 500.
Look for Castrol's Car Care Cashback Offer, now available at your favorite retailer. Castrol's Cashback Offer.
Do you want to take a few seconds to make your car look better? Okay, when you finish washing it, do the tires with Armor All Protectant. You can do a tire in about 15 seconds. Go on, try it. Oh, now if the tires look new, is that okay?
Expos Baseball on TSN. The National League's hardest-hitting lineup provides exciting action on television's best baseball schedule. Defending champions St. Louis, New York, San Francisco, and Cincinnati are some of the top teams you'll see live in action. Join the TSN team of Jim Hewson and Ken Singleton in the broadcast booth. Monday, the Expos take on the St. Louis Cardinals live from Busch Stadium. Expos Baseball starting at 6:30 Eastern right here on TSN.
ESPN Wisconsin for IndyCar racing. And we are set up now for what could be an exciting conclusion to this race. The two abreast formation indicates the cars are just about to take the green flag and go back to racing. The leader is Ricky Rudd. Second position is Rusty Wallace. In third is Sterling Marlin, then Dale Earnhardt, Bill Elliott, Mike Alexander, Terry Labonte, Darrell Waltrip, Jeff Bodine, and Phil Parsons. Those cars on the lead lap. Now, we are deciding right now about the driver of the race. We'll be announcing it later in the Goodyear Eagle Driver of the Race Award. $1,000 given in the name of the Winston Cup Racing Wives Association in that driver's name. We'll be selecting the driver of the race in a few more laps. Green has come back out, and Ricky Rudd and Rusty Wallace take off from the others.
Well, you know, it's got to be like a major league chess game down there. The crew chiefs they know they're short on tires. They can make it from here on their gas. It'll be close. It's like 65 laps from the time they filled up with their fuel. They can make it on their gas. If you had one good set of tires in the pits, would you put it on now and hope there's no more cautions? There's a car smoking, number 12,
yeah.
Mike Alexander. Would you put your best set of tires on now and hope that there's no more cautions, or would you save your best set of tires hoping for a caution later on?
Sterling Marlin almost got into the wall. He was running in third place behind Ricky Rudd, but there's the smoking car of Mike Alexander, but Sterling got very high going into turn 1. He came out still in fourth place with Bill Elliott right on his bumper. You mentioned that there were only 10 cars in the lead lap. Davey Allison was not among those, Bob. We said that he got his lap back on that caution. He did not. He did not get back to the start-finish line in time, so he is still one lap down, but Phil Parsons did get his lap back. He's in the lead lap.
Bill Elliott and Sterling Marlin are side by side. Bill inside, trying to pick up the position. Marlin slides high on the racetrack once again, and Bill goes to third. Well, Gary, answer your own question. If you were down there as a crew chief, what would you do?
I think I would have put on my best set of tires right here. You know, the way the race has been going with just single car wrecks and so spread out, I think this was the time to put on the new tires. You know, that's what I would have done, but I've been wrong more times than I've been right, and that's called.
Well, Bill Elliott Elliott actually moved to 4th position when he passed Sterling Marlin there. Let's watch the number 3 car, Earnhardt, pass Ricky Rudd.
And boy, he does it with ease. Rudd went a little high. Earnhardt took advantage of it, dipped under him, and smooth run around.
You know, I was here as a crew chief for Jeff Bodine in 1986, and we stood a chance of winning that $100,000 bonus if we could have won this race. We led almost the whole race, and the rain clouds were coming in just like they are today. And in fact, it was raining on and off early or later in the race. Then I think that what finally happened was I said, it's got to rain. It's getting dark. Let's stay out. And we ran out of gas with 10 laps to go and lost the race. So.
There's Dave Marcus, who has spun down in turn number 2.
What happened, he came down the front straightaway, and he was speeding on the backstretch, so he drove down to the flat part of the track, and he realized he was going a little too fast. He almost went up on the banking. He pulled it back down, but when he did, the thing spun around sideways with him, but no yellow out at this point.
No yellow flag yet, right. He was far enough off the groove, and his motor, it looked like he was moving, but then he may have stalled again.
Well, the car is still stalled, and there you can see some debris on the backstretch, so that will certainly bring out a caution. There's the leader, Rusty Wallace, and the yellow flag is indeed displayed by Harold Kinder.
Boy, what do you do now? Stay out?
If you got that best set of tires on, you got no good set to put on again. I don't know.
You'd have to stay out if you had your best set on.
Yeah, I would think so.
There's Wallace crossing the stripe, maintaining the lead as Dale Earnhardt follows him across the line. Caution on lap number 312, our 9th caution period of the afternoon. Well, we will see in just a moment who is satisfied with the tires and who is not. We see Ricky Rudd pitting on the backstretch.
So certainly he was not pleased. We could see his car was not working very well.
There's Dale Earnhardt's pit. They don't seem to be real excited at the moment.
They might be faking somebody out, acting like they're going to make a pit stop. And let's see Rusty Wallace's crew. They're not acting too well. Yeah, you talk about faking out. He's out on pit road as if they're going to bring him in. I bet he doesn't come in. Let's see.
Well, you know, Bill Elliott is pitted right behind Rusty Wallace, and they're also standing in. No, here comes Rusty in, by golly.
I would have lost that bet.
Yeah, last second, Rusty stayed out.
Jerry Punch is standing in the Rusty Wallace pit, ready to see what happens.
Well, the reason they wanted to bring him in, he would have had to go 65 laps to the end, and they're not really getting great gas mileage. That would be 89 miles. They didn't want to have to press their luck. So why not come in and top up the tank, which they just did in about 6.5 seconds, and he is away. No tire change there at all. The Bill Elliott crew is back over the wall. They are apparently not going to bring him in, and neither is Earnhardt's crew.
Well, I don't know about that move. You know, it looked to me like 65 laps was pretty easy for most of the cars to make. Apparently, they were taking a conservative route, but Rusty's going to have a long way to go. You can tell the cars up front aren't going to make any more pit stops unless they really have a problem later on. So all those front cars aren't going to make any more pit stops. Rusty's got to pass at least 10 cars to get up to the lead. Let's go to Dick Bergman with the story on the fuel.
Well, Gary, I had just talked before with Rusty Wallace guys, and they said they were within 1 lap of being able to make it. Earnhardt's guy said, no problem, but I'm going to tell you what, they're sure looking at the score sheets right now, trying to convince themselves, in fact, they can make it. Ernie Elliott says, yes, he can make it. He can go all the way. Boy, I'm going to tell you, this is a thinking man's game today. We've got as much of a race down here as there is on the speedway. Jerry?
And Gary Nelson to comment on why they would come in. This is the same car that Rusty Wallace won with at Michigan back in June. And if you recall that race, Rusty ran out of gas twice at Michigan with this car. They don't know why. They have changed everything, including the fuel cell. But for some reason, this car does not pick up the entire 22 gallons. It picks up around 20 or 20 and a half gallons or so. So they are concerned here in the Kodiak pits about whether that car will make it all the way. So we are 312 laps here at the Southern 500, and after a pit stop by Rusty Wallace, Dale Earnhardt leads. We'll be back.
The green flag has just come out. The field down the backstretch now on lap number 314. Dale Earnhardt has the lead. Bill Elliott is running in second position. Then comes Sterling Marlin. And the report from the weather people indicate that there is rain within 4 miles of the racetrack. Now, that has also got to play on these drivers and crews' minds. And perhaps Rusty Wallace didn't get that information because, as you know, he made a pit stop for fuel and is going to be struggling here the next few laps to get back up front.
Yeah, I'm sure that he didn't realize that there was rain that close. They were close as far as they're figuring on the fuel mileage was concerned. They wanted to come in and get enough, but they figured the race was going to go to the end, and maybe it will, but if rain is that close, it might not go the full 500 miles.
Jerry, tell us more from Rusty's pit.
Well, we've double-checked with the crew, and they definitely could not make it on fuel. They told me this car, that they couldn't trust this car in Michigan, and they didn't want to try to chance it here. They did not know there was rain 4 miles from the racetrack. They do know now. They just told Rusty on the radio, they said, Rusty, time's running out, partner. Pull the trigger. Rusty said, I'm going to do it. Here I go.
Well, here he goes around Mike Alexander. He's not wasting any time. Terry Labonte is the next car up in front of him. That moves Rusty into, I believe, the 5th position or 6th position. 5th position it would, or 6th position, and Terry Labonte is running in 5th position, so he's moving up on him right now.
Of course, you can't tell, although rain is only 4 miles away and could scatter away from this area, and it's certainly no guaranteed thing that's going to rain here in the next 15 or 20 minutes, but nevertheless, it's another factor that is being played with, and there is Rusty continuing to head for the front.
Well, Rusty's a man in a hurry right now. He knows he's got to get around these cars before the leaders, Bill Elliott and Dale Earnhardt, can get too far away. They got a pretty good jump. You can see the distance right there. Rusty's got about 5-6 cars to pass before he's up to the lead spot. So there's a 3-second interval right now Rusty's got to make up, but there's cars in between. That's going to take a lot of time. Rusty's definitely got to move right now.
Yeah, if it was all just clear racetrack between he and the front runners, it wouldn't be quite as bad. But he moves around the car number 20.
That's 75
of Neil Bonnet. Neil moved over to let him go. Now he's moving up quickly on Darrell Waltrip, so he's not spending too much time passing those cars once he catches them.
4th place is Darrell Waltrip, and we'll see if Rusty can take that spot. Well, he's reduced it by just a touch.
That is amazing. See, he's passing cars and still running faster than the leader. He gained on the leader and passed Neil Bonnet on that same lap. That's quite a move for Rusty Wallace. That shows his car is really running, and he's standing on the gas right now.
But it will be a little tougher to pass Darrell Waltrip because Neil Bonnet did move over and let him go. Neil, of course, 1 or more laps down, so he knew that Rusty was running for the lead, so he said, okay, let me get out of his way and let him go. But Darrell Waltrip won't move over and let him go.
Checking the interval once again. It was 2.9 last time. Well, it's 3.1 now. So Waltrip is indeed perhaps playing a key role in this situation. Now Rusty goes to the inside in turn number 2. Let's see if he wins the race down the backstretch. Darrell is staying ahead of him. Rusty trying desperately. He's got that inside line, though. That's the one to have going into 3. He's got it.
Boy, he drove right deep in there.
Right up to the wall. You know, each car is going to get harder and harder for Rusty to pass. They all know about the rain. They all know that even if it doesn't rain, it's not far to the finish. They're all standing on the gas right now.
Now 3.7 there as he had to concentrate on passing Darrell Waltrip, but now he can really hang it out. And the next guy that he will attempt to pass for 3rd position is Sterling Marlin.
Marlin will be another tough one to pass, too. He's running faster than Sterling Marlin, but as we've said so many times, catching a guy is one thing, but passing him is another. And Sterling is running faster than Darrell Waltrip was. Darrell's car was pushing up in turns 1 and 2, and it made it pretty easy for Rusty to move around, but he has caught Sterling Marlin pretty quickly, so let's see what he can do about passing.
You can see Rusty has 2 yellow wheels on the right side, 1 yellow wheel on the left side. Those obviously came from Darrell Waltrip's brother, Michael Waltrip's car. I don't know where the left rear, the black one, came from, but they've been scrounging tires all day. It's amazing the way these guys, how resourceful these crews can get.
Well, I think we're concentrating here on beating the rain, and I'm not so sure that that's what we should be focusing our attention on. I think we should be really focusing our attention on the end of the race. 367 laps. We are now at 323. Rusty will make a run perhaps at Sterling Marlin on this lap. They have to slide high. And here is Bill Elliott, who's trying to get the lead from Dale Earnhardt. Bill Elliott will assume command of this race. Now, if Bill wins this event, he gets a $10,000 bonus from Sherwin-Williams as Dale Earnhardt comes right back. Look at him fight the wheel there in the 3rd and 4th corners. It's side-by-side racing, but Dale has the lead back once again.
Boy, he's using up all the racetrack, that Dale Earnhardt, to try and keep Bill Elliott behind. But what that'll do is help Rusty Wallace. When they're racing side by side, they're not running as fast as they were one in front of the other. So Rusty Wallace may have got a small break there anyway.
I'll complete my thought here. If Bill Elliott wins this race, he gets a $10,000 bonus from the Sherwin-Williams Paint Company for winning the race from the pole position. We saw Benny Parsons gain $10,000 bonus early in the race for leading at the halfway point.
You understand that the car number 26 of Ricky Rudd has a tire going down. So we might see Ricky making a pit stop for long.
Here's Rusty. Yep, going into third place. Did it rather easily, as a matter of fact. Now he sets his sights on second place. Bill Elliott, and here is the battle for the lead once again, as Elliott tries to get it away from Dale Earnhardt.
Can't do it.
No.
If they keep that up, Russ will be in the picture in a matter of just a few laps.
Rusty definitely closing in on this lead duo. There he is, third position, coming out of the fourth corner.
Bill Elliott, the point leader. Rusty Wallace second, and Dale Earnhardt third in points. Look at Rusty Wallace, 2.2. He's really knocked it down.
Yes, he's gaining on the leaders. He's running a good line around the racetrack. His car will stay low on the racetrack, and that could definitely work to his advantage. Everybody is passed. He's passed them between stern 1 and 2. They're where the car would stick down on the inside as their cars wash out high.
Now the leader, Dale Earnhardt. Oh, we have a crash in turn number 4. As a car has hit the wall down there. Ken Reagan in car number 77 has had contact with the wall in corner number 4.
Now what do you do, crew chiefs? Boy.
Oh, and a flash of fire there in the Ken Reagan car. But he's going to try to get it refired and get off the racetrack. You can see the right front tire there is down on that machine.
The car looks a little narrower than it was earlier.
Well, now Rusty Wallace is able to close right in on first and second. Jerry?
Well, Barry Dodson just turned around to me and said, Jerry, how about the rain? How about the rain? Where is it? We don't know what to do. I said, Russ, Barry, I can't help you. They say it's between 3 and 4 miles away. He said, well, I guess we'll have to do what everybody else does. So he grabbed the jacket. He's standing on pit wall, waiting for Rusty to come down pit road. At the leaders peel off and head down pit road. Here's Rusty Wallace, Bill Elliott, Dale Earnhardt. They will make their move, and we will see the lead pit stop here. Rusty Wallace. Earnhardt's crew changing right side tires. He will get down left side tires. Wallace getting right side tires as well. There will be 4 tire changes for Earnhardt as well as Rusty Wallace and Bill Elliott. Bill Elliott and Rusty Wallace both now getting left side tires as they will get fresh rubber for the 3 lead cars. Earnhardt's car now just running the lead. Elliott's car leads. Earnhardt's car leads. And Wallace will be the 3rd car down pit road.
Now he's got red rims on the right side of that car, Rusty Wallace says.
It appeared that all of them put on sticker tires, new tires. They must have really done some good scrounging. It looked like the 3, the 9, the 3, and the 27 car all had sticker tires.
I would say that Rusty Wallace and his crew did not want to see this caution because he was definitely gunning down the leaders, and he had the set of tires on there that he wanted on him.
So we are set up now for perhaps the end of the Southern 500. We'll be back in just a moment. We come back just as the green flag drops on the field once again at lap number 330. We've got 37 more laps to go in the Southern 500. The cars out front are Davey Allison and Mike Alexander, but here comes Bill Elliott in the number 9 car, and here also comes Dale Earnhardt at number 3, and Rusty Wallace too, for that matter.
Bill Elliott won the race out of the pits, but those 2 cars, the 28 and the 12 car, did not make pit stops, so that meant Bill Elliott had to restart behind him.
Here comes Elliott moving to the high side of Davey Allison. Elliott has the lead. Earnhardt is second, and there is Rusty Wallace running on the low side of Mike Alexander. Look at the dark sky there off of corner number 2. Rusty is 3rd place now, number 27 car. Here comes Darrell Waltrip in 17.
It's time now to go. If you got anything left, you got to do it. Here's Waltrip moving around the car number 12. So Darrell Waltrip on the move. This is his style. Now he waits till late in the race to do his thing. If he's got anything left, now's the time to show it.
And a reminder, NFL prime time at 7:15 Eastern time tonight here on ESPN. Chris Berman, John Saunders, Pete Axtell, and Tom Jackson will have all the latest from NFL on NFL prime time tonight here on ESPN. Elliott, Earnhardt, and Rusty Wallace. Wallace now is right there on the tail of Dale Earnhardt's car. Ooh, is there some smoke coming from Rusty's car?
I believe that was tire smoke. He just got a little loose coming off of that turn, and I think he just burned the tires a little bit.
He is really driving an aggressive race right now. All of those 3 are fighting for points for the overall championship, but they're fighting for position and a chance to win this race. They've really got a lot on their minds right now.
Now let's see. Rusty's going to pass Earnhardt going into turn 3.
He
Will
does.
slide high and Earnhardt go back under him? Why, yes, he did, just like he's done several times before.
Boy, this is something.
Well, in our opinion, the Goodyear Eagle driver of the race is Rusty Wallace. So Goodyear will be sending a check for $1,000 in Rusty's name to the Winston Cup Racing Wives Auxiliary. It will be from a very good driver to a very good cause. And we believe that he is the driver of the race, even if he doesn't win, because he has really made a charge to the front after some pit stops, and definitely is among the faster cars on the track. I don't know whether he's going to win or not, but nevertheless, he's also making a tremendous comeback after that horrifying crash last Friday at Bristol.
Well, Rusty's my hero for the day. He's kept me on my feet all day watching him. He's just driving that car flat out. He just about scraped the wall there that last lap in turn 3 and 4. Racing with Earnhardt all day. He's really put on a heck of a show. I think all of the fans have really spent most of their time watching Rusty Wallace today.
He's exciting to watch. There's no question about that.
The first 3 in the point standings in Winston Cup competition are running first, second, and third on the racetrack. Bill Elliott, the leader, is the leader in Winston Cup points. Rusty Wallace is second in points. Dale Earnhardt is third in points. All 3 have led today, so they picked up the 5 points for that. And it's just simply going to come down to who wins this race as to who has the Winston Cup points lead. Well, guys, what do you think? Rusty sure has looked strong. Can he win this race?
Well, he's picking up a little bit on Bill Elliott right now. I think he can, although Elliott's car is very strong. It's been strong all day. He got behind when he had to come back in the pits during one of those cautions and tighten some of the lug nuts, and he fought his way back up through there. But Rusty Wallace, remember, he made a pit stop when it was a questionable situation, and he fought his way back up there, and right now he is gaining on Bill Elliott, and I believe he's going to take it.
Well, you know, there's still 10 cars in the lead lap, 337 laps into this race, and the race is only 367 laps total. So that out of those 10 cars, any one of them has shown a lot of strength here today. But I'd have to go also with Rusty Wallace. He's just my hero for the day, that's for sure.
In addition to 5 points for leading the race, Bill will get 5 bonus points for leading the most laps. And let's go to Dick Berggren, who's in Bill's pit area with Ernie.
Well, I'll tell you, I wasn't the only guy that picked Bill Elliott to win this. This fella did too. Ernie, can Bill hold on and win?
I don't know. You know, Rusty's running awful good. We're just going, he's giving it his best shot.
What is he telling you about the tires and the chassis in the car? Does it feel good?
Yeah, the car feels pretty good right now. Still a little tight.
Well, all is calm here in the Bill Elliott pit. It usually is when they're out in the lead and everything is nice and comfortable. And that's just the way it is right now for Bill Elliott.
Ernie just never seems to get too excited about anything, does he? Even when his drivers are leading the Southern 500 with just a few more laps to go. And Rusty really closing in now within a car length.
Yes, he is closing in, but you wonder, is Bill running as fast as he can or as fast as he has to? And look at the tire smoke from Rusty Wallace. He's really punishing his car.
We know for a fact Rusty's running flat out. Bill Elliott, we think, is running flat out. It's hard to tell about Bill. You know, Bill Elliott is a lot like Ernie. They're brothers after all. But, you know, Ernie is saying, yeah, well, we don't know. We're not sure and all this kind of stuff. But I think Bill Elliott is maybe a little bit stronger right here. He hasn't pulled away, but he hasn't really let Rusty get up alongside of him either.
There are 27 laps to go. That completed lap number 340. Now Rusty moves alongside, tries to make a bid for the lead. Not this time.
I wonder where those red wheels came from on Rusty's car.
Well, there are a few red cars out there, but I bet you they didn't come off of Bill Elliott's red car.
No, I don't think so.
They pass H.B. Bailey, the number 36 car on the high side of the racetrack. Rusty brings it down off the 4th corner banking. Content for the moment to remain in 2nd spot to Bill Elliott.
Well, his car is still sticking well down on the inside of the racetrack, but Elliott's car is working well in the middle of the racetrack. So it's going to be tough for him to pass.
Bill Elliott is a point leader. Rusty Wallace 2nd in points, and Dale Earnhardt 3rd in points, and that's the way they are on the racetrack.
As a matter of fact, going into this race, Rusty was 16 behind Bill, and Earnhardt was 26 points behind Bill Elliott. Now a slower car to contend with, and they both pass the car nicely.
That was Mike Alexander who made an unscheduled pit stop there just a moment ago.
Rusty runs the track lower in turns 1 and 2 than Bill Elliott, and then when they get to turns 3 and 4, he's up right against the wall. I saw some sparks the last time. I think he actually crushed the wall last lap up there, right there.
He is running awfully high around that turn. And and it might be that Elliott is running just as fast as he has to, because he does not look like he's punishing his car as much as Rusty Wallace is. And Ernie Elliott said this car was timing. Gary, the longer they run, the better that will be for him, because the car will loosen up a little bit.
You're right, Ned. As the tires get hotter, the cars always tend to go a little bit more towards the loose side.
Talk about trust. You've really got to have confidence and trust in that driver ahead of you if you're Rusty Wallace, because he is just looking for any... Oh, Rusty may have scraped the wall there. I thought I saw a little bit of a brush of the wall, and he fishtailed a little bit, but didn't slow him down anyway. He's hung right in there.
Didn't back off the lick.
That's that third and fourth turn. Rusty runs high there, and here he is in 1 and 2. He runs low. He's running the opposite track of Bill Elliott.
Let's see. Oh, look at the smoke again coming off that right rear tire of Rusty Wallace.
He's burning that right rear tire. That can't be good for him.
Well, let's take a look at what happened in this area of the racetrack 1 lap ago.
Okay, he goes into the third turn, goes in there very hard. You can see he picks up on Bill Elliott, but then the car goes up a little bit, and I believe he does scrape the wall just a little bit, but he never backed off.
Looked like there was a little bit of smoke that came off the fourth and third turn wall, but Elliott continues to hang on to the lead, as there is Ernie, and Rusty Wallace remains second. Battle for the lead continues with Bill Elliott hanging on. Rusty Wallace trying to take it over. Look at this. Lap traffic may play a part here. Rusty goes to the inside coming off the fourth corner. Nope, he decides to take the high road and fall in behind Bill.
Boy, did you see the slow car scramble to get out of the way, and that was a good smart move that he moved down on the inside to get out of the way. That was Rodney Combs getting out of the way.
And now they pass Alan Kowicki in the Xerox Ford on the high side of the racetrack.
Rusty really got loose that time off of turn 2. He's going to have a tough time keeping that tire usable for the remainder of the race. He's really been abusing that right rear tire.
This will complete lap 350. We'll have 17 laps to go when they cross the stripe. While all this battle for the lead is going on.
Here's Raymond Beadle.
Well, he's found some new tires somewhere. Raymond Beadle, who owns the car that Rusty Wallace is driving, has found some more. Let's go to Jerry Punch.
Well, the welcome sign of Rusty Wallace meant Raymond Beadle is rolling some brand new tires in. And I know Barry Dawson says, hey, guys, we got some new rubber if we need it, which is certainly a relief. They don't have any fresh tires. And Barry, you got to be proud of that guy. He's driving his tail off out there.
He is. We're proud of him. You know, he's going to win the race for us, I hope.
Well, they want to get back on the headphones and talk to Rusty. They know he's abusing the car right now. They said, well, once he got that Darlington stripe over in turn 3 and 4, he's ready to win it now. So once he bounced off the wall, that got his attention.
Making another bid for the lead is Rusty inside in turn number 2. He fishtails coming out of there. Still can't grab it, though.
He just couldn't get traction. As he gets down on the inside, he can get up beside him in the center of the turn, but as he starts off, he can't quite do it. Now he's going to make a run on the outside in turns 3 and 4. That won't work.
Man.
That car of Bill Elliott's looks like it's getting wider and wider every time.
While all this is going on, the battle for the top spot, Dale Earnhardt is
sitting back there
behind.
watching. Yeah, he's about 2 seconds behind. He can see what's going on up there, and in fact, he figures right now the way they're running and the way his car's running, about the only chance he's got of winning this race is for them to get together up there while they're battling for the lead.
There you can see Earnhardt right in the extreme right corner of your screen. What's he doing? Does he not have it, or is he just watching these guys?
Well, you know Earnhardt's running flat out. He wouldn't let them get away from him this late into the race. He's trying his best. He probably didn't get an ideal stagger set of tires on his car for this last run. You know, he's probably just lucky to get some good tires on there. We also have about that same interval back with Darrell Waltrip and Sterling Marlin. Let's go to Dick Bergeron in the pits.
Well, Kurt Shelmerdine, what's happening with Dale Earnhardt? You guys out of muscle, or have you got something in your bag of tricks?
If he's got something, he better be getting it out.
What's the car doing? What's Dale saying?
He hasn't said a whole lot. We're just getting outrun, that's all. We've been kind of second place all day.
They've tried so hard here in the Earnhardt team. They've done everything they possibly can. Here it is, the end of the race. They are a third-place car at best. There is nothing they can do right now.
Just tell it like it is. That's exactly what Kirk Shelmerdine did. He said, we're just getting outrun right now.
He's a man of a few words. What he does say is very important, and doesn't say anything that isn't important. Here's the battle for the lead once again. Elliott continues to lead Rusty Wallace. Now with 355 laps completed, 12 more circuits of the 1.3-mile Darlington International Raceway, and will decide the winner of the 1988 Southern 500.
Major League Racing, and these are the top drivers in this Major League division. They're going at it to the finish. This is a really NASCAR racing at its best. It's amazing the way they can run for 500 miles and still have this much left for the finish.
Well, Elliott's car seems to be working very well, and it might be that tight feeling that he had a moment ago might be working his advantage. There Rusty is again, sideways, and the smoke from that right rear tire.
Well, we've got to get one more commercial break in here before the finish of the race. So we're going to do it right now so we can come back and bring you the final laps without interruption of the Southern 500. There are 8 more laps to go in the Southern 500, and Bill Elliott continues to maintain a slight advantage over Rusty Wallace. Dale Earnhardt is running 3rd. 4th is Darrell Waltrip, and 5th is Sterling Marlin. But up front is where we focus our attention, because look at Rusty once again. It looks like he may have brushed that 3rd turn wall once again.
But he gets high there, and it seems to give him such a good run off of that turn. He's found a groove that works well for him, but not well enough to move around Bill Elliott.
Maybe he's found another place where you can Darlington stripe and get an advantage by doing so.
I don't know. But he's able to get up the nose alongside him between turn 1 and 2, but he just can't get the muscle or the traction really that he needs coming off of turn 2.
I think Bill Elliott's figured out the groove that Rusty wants to run, and he just takes it away from him. He gives him just a little bit, enough to get him in there and step on the gas, but he's causing Rusty to really overwork those rear tires. See the smoke right there coming off the right rear tire. Bill Elliott knows that Rusty's going to have to get all the way alongside of him going into the 3rd turn, and he's been able to pretty much protect that.
Whichever driver wins this race today is certainly going to earn it because they've driven their hearts out.
Elliott in the number 9 Coors Motorcraft Ford is the leader. And the Pontiac, sponsored by Kodiak of Rusty Wallace, is running in 2nd spot. And that's how close they are. Now they'll come down and cross the stripe and complete 363. Could Rusty just be cooling it here for a last lap effort?
Well, he's going to try to do it right now, it looks like.
Look at him.
Thought for a moment that maybe he had cooled his tires just a little bit, but he's going to try to make a move anytime that he possibly can.
Well, you can't predict where the traffic's going to be. It's 5 laps to go now. You know they could be right in a pack of lap cars just on the white flag lap. So Rusty knows this. He knows he's got to do something, but he's got to pick his spots. The traffic like right there will really cause a big problem if it happens on the last lap of the race.
And, of course, he can't afford to take too big of a chance because of the battle for the Winston Cup Point Championship.
Yeah, he'd rather finish 2nd, I'm sure, than to end the race spun out or against the wall somewhere and receive many, many fewer Winston Cup points. But I don't know. I think Bill's got this race in the bag here.
He's going to be awfully tough to pass. But I'll tell you, Bob, they're not thinking about points right now. They're thinking about winning this race.
Yeah, no question about that.
Well, yeah, you can imagine Rusty Wallace. He wants to win this race so bad. This is the Southern 500. This is 3 laps to go. The Southern 500. Rusty Wallace right on Bill Elliott's bumper. He's got a big job ahead of him, and he's going to do the best he can right here.
So the tradition that was begun 39 years ago by Johnny Mance winning that first Southern 500. Now we're about to decide the 39th winner of this contest. It'll either be Bill Elliott or Rusty Wallace, maybe Dale Earnhardt can. Well, look at Rusty sliding once again, coming off of the 4th corner. And there are 2 more laps to go. The white flag will come out next time around.
And a car smoking in front of them. That's Neil Bonnet. And boy, when they look at that.
Look at Rusty.
He can't do it. Nope. He can't get the traction off the turn.
He needs to be able to stay to the inside or dart to the inside right here going into turn 3, and he just can't get that speed up.
Well, if he does it, it's going to have to be on the last lap, because here they come for the white flag. Rusty once again has it all hung out with the rear end of the race car sliding toward that 3rd turn wall. Dick Berggren, as we came on the air, predicted that this was Bill Elliott's race, and perhaps he's going to be right. They're in the final lap of the Southern 500. Bill Elliott with a 2-car length advantage over Rusty Wallace. Off of the 2nd corner and down the backstretch.
Rusty went through that 2nd turn high for the first time in a long time.
Now let's see. It looks like the interval is going to widen here on the final lap. Elliott puts the car way up against the wall. So is Rusty Wallace. Here they come off the fourth corner. It looks like it's going to be Bill Elliott winning, I think. Boy, it was close, though. I think Elliott won by about a half a car length over Rusty.
That traffic certainly came into play as they came off of that turn. Dan Elliott, that's Bill's brother.
Boy, that was a close race. Here's a scramble for position also. We're focusing on Ricky Rudd. As watch these guys cross the line as the checkered flag is out. The 28 and 26 car battling for position. The 26 car, actually 26 and 25 battling for 10th place. There is Bill Elliott as he is waving to the fans, having won the Southern 500.
What a battle it was. He certainly had